I just burped. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast, episode 37 of the week of May 19th, Saturday, 2018. I'm your host, D.
This is Juice.
And we got two returning guests. Actually, three. Claudine's not a guest. This is her house. So this is pretty much a co-host. So we got two returning guests. Okay. One of main Mumbles.
Yo, that's right, man. Happy belated birthday.
Bro, he about old as dirt. Old as sandal. Tell you.
Old as
Jesus walks.
Exactly. Oh, speaking of the devil.
And we also got the returning champ of agriculture. The one, the only, Stephanie.
Hello.
Geez, Steph, we gotta work on your intro. Alright, so first of all, just what brings us all together today, I want to say congratulations to Juice's fiance, Claudine. Congratulations.
Yes, Doctor.
Definitely, Dr. Claudine.
PhD.
And let me see if I can pronounce your last name right. Kurtisenge? Okay, I was close, because I heard you say it a couple times, but I never asked you exactly how to pronounce it.
I was listening because I was pretty sure that I couldn't do it.
That's only... So, have you guys decided which way the last names are going to go? Is it going to be hyphenated?
Do we not tell people?
Mine.
I think I might have asked this question before.
Mine's going to be hyphenated.
Are you also going to hyphenate?
Juice, what do you...
I'm hyphenating mine with McLeod.
Well, it's going to be Mac hyphen Floyd. Mac Loud.
Mac Leod. Mac hyphen Leah.
Lloyd.
That's why I never really understood about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why women have to change their names and why
We
men
were
don't
talking
change
about
their
this.
names.
I'm sure there's a historical reason that's completely irrelevant nowadays.
It's cultural. Like, in my culture, you don't change your name.
Yeah.
You don't. It's just a cultural thing.
Right.
Yeah. I'm never going to do that ever.
But you would figure, like, societally, like, through the time a woman is growing up and coming of age, you're getting used to the idea of having to give up your name once you get married. You know what I mean?
It's based on a patriarchal society.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you live in a patriarchal society, they expect you to change. Like, if not, then do you.
I guess American society being based off the church and having church values. I mean, church is patriarchal.
Which church?
I mean, most churches are patriarchal in their setup, you know, from conception. So,
Church.
I guess it makes sense that America would be a patriarchal society.
But the thing is, always been like that. They carry the name of the father, so that's why they usually do that.
As well as do something with the male lineage, right?
Right.
Carry down the lineage of the male, right?
Yeah, it's a bunch of crap.
But you feel like, I feel like if I was a woman, I'd have a problem with that too. Like I like my last name. You know what I mean? What's wrong with having hyphenated last name? You know, it's fine. I wouldn't have an issue with it.
I mean, if we're both hyphenating
5 generations,
our name,
your kids will have like 8 hyphens in their names.
Yeah,
so?
Right. But, well, unless if they decide to make that choice once they get married, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Male or female.
We should all change the names when we
You wouldn't
get old
hyphenate
enough.
your name to take on Claudine's name, Juice?
Thought about it.
Claudine looked up at that.
Yeah, well, she looking at
Did y'all have a conversation about that?
A little bit, but
We did.
Mm-hmm.
We did.
I think it'd be dope.
I don't know.
You didn't
I
want
don't want to do
How
that.
how would it go? Say it.
I love her last name. Here's the thing, though. Like, I love her last name, and
I like mine more.
I just, but I know because of our cultures, right? Like
Right, I know
at this
what you're
point, I'm just like, well, it's not really part of my culture to take the wife's last name, right? But that's
Right.
just really it. It's
I
just
think-
not part of my culture to do that.
It's not. And
It's not.
that's what I'm saying. Most women grow up with the idea of, hey, one day I'm gonna get married.
And I'm also at the point where like
My
I was
husband's last
never
name.
going to force her to take my last name,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but I am glad she did. It was cool. But I'm also very glad that she didn't completely give up her last name. Like, I
Right.
prefer to hyphenate than... Because Kurtisenge is a very distinct and unique name that's just solely for her, right? So, I definitely won't want to give that up.
And it also has a definitely a flair of heritage and
culture all within it.
yeah.
It's culture all in that name.
I like it too. I wouldn't want to give it up. I feel like that as a woman though. I wouldn't want to give up my name. I would like my last name. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta get my name up.
I'm not swapping my
African name.
plantation last name for another plantation last name.
Steph, we already know you would give up your last name before you would take
Why
on
don't
the
you just
last
take your
name.
own... Let's make a
Yeah,
name.
I'd make up my own before I
My
did
name
that.
is Stephanie X before you'd be Stephanie Turner. That's his last name?
Infirmarius?
Stop it. We're not
Infirmarius?
doing that.
Infirmarius?
Sorry.
You from? I don't know how to say it.
Definitely be Stephanie X. All right, so first topic. Besides giving up last names.
Stephanie.
Yeah, Stephadopoulos.
Stephanopoulos.
Steph Papadopoulos.
Stephanie Thaddeus.
Oh, Steph is definitely taking Papadopoulos. If your last name with Papadopoulos, I might have to take that.
I'm gonna have an alternative last name.
What's that?
No, having an alternative last name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You definitely seem like a hyphen last name person to me, Steph. If you ever made the decision to get married,
No.
would you hyphenate your name?
You want hyphenate?
Or would you take on a man's name?
No, I wouldn't take on a man's name.
Not even if it's part of your culture. And
It's because you hate men.
what if he expected it? What if it was really important to him?
Oh,
You wouldn't.
I'm sorry.
You wouldn't take on his
That
last
would
name.
be
Period.
something
Not
that
even a
we
hyphen.
talk about ahead of time. Like you'd already, it wouldn't be a surprise.
Would it be a discussion? You'd just be like, I'm not doing it, no matter your reason? Or would there be a condition in which you would be like, you know what?
At least.
I would be cool with taking at least part of or adding this name.
No.
There's no situation at all.
Yeah.
Just no. Just like,
no.
no, we're not having it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you start hating men?
I'm
I'm sorry, I was fucking around.
Okay, but
disdain
yeah, I
for
mean,
the male
if we
gender comes.
if we go there, then we can also ask the same. When did you start hating women to the point where you feel the need to change their identity?
I didn't.
What do you
I'm
mean?
not
Wait,
saying you
hang on.
specifically.
Oh,
What do you
when
mean
did
change
men?
their identity? What
Oh,
does
you
that
mean men? When the men start hating women?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think men have ever hated women, but I think we've always seen them as they're probably really in charge, and therefore the male ego has always had to kind of flex to say, "Hey, I'm in charge."
I mean, I think
That's how I
think
feel
that-
it's
I
worked.
think that is
Even though the women has always actually been in control.
that is a symptom of the Western society and culture. I would say, I mean, when you look at a lot of distant civilizations, especially like Kemet, ancient Egypt, Africa, like the woman was deitized and worshipped, as part of the holy trinity of gods, right? Like,
yeah, there's always been Osiris.
There was
Osiris,
a woman.
Isis, and
Look at Nefertiti.
The woman is just as important as the man in the life cycle. You know what I mean? There's no life without the woman.
I don't remember.
Like the act of creation is the conception of a child, right? You can't have that without a woman. So in essence, and I'm saying this like it's my own knowledge, but this is what I've picked up listening to different podcasts and lectures. When you have a child, when that child is conceived, that is God. That is the act of God creating life. You know what I mean? Is
the highest power. Like
it's the highest power that we
manifesting.
have. The ability to create life. You know what I mean? So the woman
And
has
then all of that, and then all of that, all the undeniable craziness of women actually being the creators in the world, the male ego has always had to be like, God damn it, I'm here.
Right.
Pay attention to me.
But
makes sense.
it's okay. So this is probably gonna offend a lot of people's beliefs, but I think that, and that's
what
not
we're
my
here for.
That's
Tell us
not my
an idea,
intention. But I could see women actually coming before men in the line of evolution, because
I've heard that before. I've heard there was a theory that I'm sorry to cut you off.
no,
There was a theory that women were the first creatures on the earth, and that there was a time when there were no men. You know what I mean? Then it was some scientific theory that I was reading, but I can't explain it all as if I know exactly what I'm talking about. Honestly, I just want to point out I don't know anything. I'm just a host of a podcast. My opinion is my opinion. It's not fact. I get a lot of different ideas bounced around from different things I hear and read. So
I just think that if you look at child development, for example, when a fetus is developing, they don't start off as male or female. Well, they start off as female. They don't start off as male.
I've heard that.
And the extra spare chromosome that males are mutations of the primary female. Exactly.
So
right.
If it is a mutation, then what we would call that is what? Adaptation. That is evolution. That is looking at evolution.
It is evolution.
And it's interesting because there is you guys have probably heard of it before. There's a tribe in Brazil, and to me it seems like a snapshot in evolution where some of the boys don't become boys until until they are at adolescents. When they become teenagers, all of a sudden they have a penis that they didn't have before.
There's also some tribes in the Amazon who believe that pregnancy is started by sleeping in a certain direction, looking at a mountain, and then you get pregnant by looking at the mountain when you sleep.
But literally, they are born with they're not born with two parts. They're born with the female part, and then the male part comes when they become a teenager. It shows up.
So this is a physiological thing?
This is real. Like
it's a physiological thing where the males do not have penises until
when they go through their adolescence, when they reach that, and they literally become male at that point.
That's a serious anomaly.
So I think that it's like so common within this tribe that it's not weird to them. It's just something that happens, and they're like, oh, okay, this person went from female to male, and it's just something that happens. And I think it's kind of interesting because it's almost like seeing a snapshot in time where it's like, what if that's how we've, you know what I mean? Like, nobody knows. Like, anybody can believe anything, really, but nobody really knows the facts behind anything. But it's a thought that you could have been female first. Like, for example, why do men have nipples? Why? For what? For what reason? Because you start off female. Right,
because we're all sharing the same general body dynamic, right? That's the same reason we all have the same organ system, why we all have a stomach and a liver, and why they're placed in these positions. That's the same reasons. We're all sharing the same general body format. Hormones and these chromosomes cause, and this is my view from anthropology, arbitrary books I've read, but
and Joe Rogan podcast.
All of those together. But the difference between male and female is it's a genetic mutation, right? And the reason I've read before I don't know if it's true, but one of the theories of the reasons why there are males and females is for genetic diversity in the gene pool. Because if all women were able to just reproduce asexually easily all the time, we could just have a bunch of clones. There would be no space for evolutionary adaptance, what works versus what doesn't work.
But when you think of it, just think of it's like, to me, nothing is really unique and special just because something can happen that doesn't normally happen, Like, when you look at any other species on Earth, we're all connected genetically to every species on Earth, but some can do things that nobody else can do, Some can reproduce themselves, some can, some don't need a male or a female, you know what I mean? There's all these different things. What makes us any different? If we are genetically similar, then we should have those same type of abilities. You know what I mean?
In theory,
yeah.
So it's not an answer to your question. I don't hate men. It's not a matter.
There wasn't a serious question, Steph.
It's not a matter of hating men, but I
still think you hate men. But you might not hate them, but you have a deep disdain for them somewhere.
No, I just think that it's important that women are respected.
Jesus,
women are respected, and I think that anybody who doesn't respect a woman, especially a man, like it really is a crazy kind of thing because you come from a woman. There would be no you without a woman. You know what I mean? But I don't believe that. I don't necessarily believe that women were first. That they were the first beings, because it's like the chicken before the egg, right? Like, you can't produce yourself. The woman can't fertilize the egg.
The very first ancestor we have that was found was not male. It was female.
Lucy, female. But at the same time, where the fuck did Lucy come from? She came from a bonding between the male and the female.
Right.
So Lucy didn't pop up from nothing.
Grass. She had to be formed.
And then for her to reproduce, she also had to mate.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy didn't procreate asexually. She also made it. So whatever the next person was, or set of quote unquote humans, they were mixed with something else.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how it works.
I don't know.
Well, when we're talking about early ancestry, it's been proven that there was a lot of different ancestors, different types of ancestors, not just one.
You know, all the
You
different.
so want women to be first on the earth. Don't you? Oh my god.
It doesn't matter though, because humans were first on the earth, right? And also, not just humans, Homo sapiens were first on the earth.
Right.
And the Homo sapiens are just a branch of some other great apes.
I like the way Stephanie put it one time when you came on the cast before and you were like, we don't even live long enough to even find out a portion of the truth. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. Like,
We can't even understand time.
how we came along
That's
throughout
what history's
history
for.
and
There's
evolved.
so many different theories, so many different.
We have no idea.
No.
You know what I mean?
Which is why we make the decisions that we make that
Right.
affect long term, affect everyone,
Mhm.
every living being on this earth long term. But we can't even look at it and see it as that way because we're just here. We're just little.
Short sliver in time.
You know why? We don't use psychedelics.
No, I'm not really sure psychedelics is a way to open up and expand your mind.
I know, that's a jump. I know, that's a jump. But there are some very, really interesting scientific studies between the way people have viewed their lives before psychedelics and the way they're viewed afterwards and their perception
That's
for
because
the
they're
world.
spaced out on drugs. You know what I mean?
Ain't
That will
wrong.
change your perception.
No,
of
there's
the world.
there's actual reasons. What are drugs, dude? Like, these are drugs we're drinking right now, right? Like that sandwich
I mean,
right
so
there
are
you just ate. What
so
do you
are
think that
shrooms.
beef is?
Packed
That's all full of
drugs.
drugs, right? Everything we have right now is
No,
drugs.
some
Defined
drugs-
drugs.
some drugs
Like, here's what we're
are-
talking about. Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are actual measurable differences between the way people perceive their lives and the environment around them before and after psychedelics. And
That's
I'm not
called a
talking
heavy
about a
drug trip.
residually. I'm not talking about a residual effect.
If you're
I'm
drunk-
talking. Let me finish. I'm talking about experientially, the way they experience things. This is after the trip is worn off. A psychedelic trip of psilocybin only lasts up to 2 or 3 hours. After that, there's no residual effects. You have a different. It's a perceptual change. There's no more chemicals in your system.
I feel that, but I mean,
Even the recollection.
you can be
You
drunk
have the
as
memory,
hell, and then when
and
you
you have the
sober up the
connection.
next day, you'll have a different perception on what happened. Like, you can't really remember. I don't remember it that way. You know what I mean? So
There's some effects.
Mhm.
That's the brain function.
I
and
hear you.
choose, it's hard for me to take your opinion, you in particular, about drugs and intoxicants, because you've never been about that stuff. You don't smoke weed. You don't
I do
take
smoke weed.
psychedelics and psycho.
I'm trying to get a
entropic
serious
drugs.
job in this crazy ass secular society right now.
I'm just saying, like,
That's
I don't
why-
see you.
You
You've
talking
never
about I
been. You've
smoked.
never been that type of person to do all that stuff. So, like, I think if I dropped a psychedelic drug on you right now, you wouldn't take that shit. You'd be like, man, I don't want
Fucking
that.
crazy.
I don't think you're taking no DMT.
I
or nothing like
recall
that, dog.
asking if you knew how to get, but
That,
you don't.
dude,
you
that
don't
was like
remember?
10 years ago. That was a long ass time ago.
I'm saying I was looking for it.
Yeah,
I'm
you
still
was.
looking for
I
it. And I
remember
still
that.
haven't found it, John. So they ain't come across it yet. But
Nah, you just don't get down like that. So, because
D's
I was
speculating
actually that before. Like, 'cause
D's speculating again.
you were on the side of marijuana legalization. I'm asking you, why do
Again?
you care so much? Because you don't even smoke. Like, you don't even use marijuana.
Are you asking me?
Do you use marijuana? Is that marijuana oil? Is that cannabis oil? I think?
No. You asking me why I'm in favor of marijuana
No,
legalization?
we asked that before, and you were saying that
I had
it
reasons,
shouldn't
right?
be.
I had reasons.
Yes,
I
but
don't-
It was
I
like
don't-
about
you're
the
not- you're not a
corrupt
user
criminal
of-
justice system, about people being allowed to tweak their mind,
yes,
their
but
consciousness
typically,
on their
if
own
I don't
freedom.
drink, I
I
don't
feel
care
like-
about what they sell at the bar. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care.
I don't smoke. I don't smoke anything. I don't smoke.
But I don't
Right.
want
But
somebody
I
to go
am
to
in
jail
favor-
because I don't drink. What the fuck?
I am in.
Yeah,
I
but-
am in favor of legalization because, first of all, there.
Now,
no
you're looking at
plant-
it as a moral
there
issue,
no
but
plant
you don't
should
really
be
care,
illegal.
Steph, because you don't do any of that
No
stuff.
fine
plant
care,
should be
dude.
illegal.
You care as far as I don't want people to go to jail for false rape charges or anything like that. Of course, I don't want anybody to go to jail for something, accused of doing something or something. I don't want them to be punished not for a crime that's not as. I don't want them to be punished harshly for a crime that's not as egregious as something like selling weed or smoking weed, as you would punish like a rapist or something like that, right? Obviously.
And even rapists
But
do not get the
do
charge
you really
that they
care
should
if they legalize marijuana in Virginia? You don't smoke it.
I do care.
So why would
I
you?
do
Because
care.
first
I
of
mean,
all,
it
it's a
doesn't make.
medicinal plant
It
that
doesn't
can
make
help
any-
a lot of people. It could help a lot of people.
Yeah, but Steph,
Why,
How many
why do
people
you
do you
care?
know that smoke?
Why would you care more?
A lot.
I didn't say that I would care more, but I
So
noticed
who
for
would
you,
care more than us? People actually talk about it. People
who
actually have
smoke weed,
reasons.
people who actually need
And
the
why
weed
would they
for
care
medicinal
more?
purposes. People who
Right.
actually. But
That's
you
why
don't.
I care. Because I know there are other people. It's called empathy. It's about being able to
that's fine.
understand the perspectives and feelings of people who are not you.
But you ain't got no empathy for Kanye.
People.
You got zero empathy for Kanye.
Because Kanye is a fool.
But Kanye feels how he feels, and maybe he
Kanye
did say
is
in
not
that
being
interview
restricted
that he was
by
hooked on
government
opioids.
laws.
He said in that thing he was hooked on opioids. He said that in
But
some
who did
interview,
he
right?
blame
Was
for that?
TMZ?
Who did he blame for that? He blamed.
It doesn't matter
I did
who
it
he
for
blames.
you guys. There was a quote, and he was pointing at everybody in TMZ.
It doesn't matter who he blames.
I did it for you guys.
I'm just saying. I always wondered
That's why he had the surgery. That's why he got hooked on drugs.
I just wonder why you were so.
What surgery did he have?
He had liposuction. Because he didn't want to be fat like
Didn't
Bob.
Did
know
his
he was
mother
fat.
die from liposuction?
Or yeah,
Did she?
Yeah,
His
she
mother
did.
died from
But
liposuction.
she died a couple weeks or at least max a month after he did it.
After he did.
Yeah, she didn't die
Wow.
before.
What?
Oh,
She died.
Oh, I
after.
thought.
and then
oh,
that was
okay.
when he got hooked.
Mm.
I don't know.
I thought that she had the liposuction.
I like how D you completely switched the conversation.
I'm not
We're
trying to
talking
switch
about-
it. I'm just saying,
somehow
like,
we're talking about
you
Kanye's
can't pick and
liposuction
choose
when he was
who you
confusing
have
me
empathy
of not
for and who
really
you
caring about marijuana
You can't pick and
legalization.
choose who you have empathy for and who you don't, right? There are
are you
hardcore
talking
criminals
about?
who.
Of course you can.
There are hardcore criminals who have medicinal purposes and needs for marijuana. Do you care if they get their marijuana fix
Absolutely.
over Kanye having an opioid problem? Because you don't care about Kanye. You don't care about why you're mad at him for saying what he said, but you don't care about his problem.
I'm absolutely
And you
confused
have
how
more of a
drawing
connection
these
with Kanye
conclusions.
than you do with some
Well, first of all,
some dealer or some criminal on the
necessarily
street who likes to smoke weed.
believe in criminalization as
He said decriminalization. He believes in decriminalization.
I
Of
do
course,
believe in
everybody's going to believe
decriminalization,
in
and I believe in
decriminalization as a moral
legalization.
issue. But you don't. How can you care about something that you don't
All right.
partake in?
Let me explain. Here's an example. You have your somebody you know, not even your family member,
Right.
somebody who you're a friend with. She has breast cancer, right?
Right.
And you care. You're like, fuck, I don't want you to die from breast cancer. We need to figure out a solution. We need to come up with some kind of way, some kind of medicine to help the situation. And in you being a friend of that person, right? You were like, man, I want to do anything I can to help them develop a cure for this disease. Now, there's no benefit for me other than just being this person's friend that why I would want medicine or some kind of help for this person, right?
Right.
So it's the same with marijuana, right? Like I want people, I know people, I have friends, family who use marijuana. I don't want them to go to jail. I don't want them to have the situation of being locked up. I don't want them to not have to be able to find a job because they want to smoke a J.
or
I don't
children
want
from their households.
I don't want
because
people to be
of it.
criminalized for tweaking their consciousness just a little bit on the weekends or whenever they fucking feel like it, because this is supposed to be a free country, right? The same reason they locked people away for alcohol back in the day with the bootlegging and what's it called, prohibition.
Right.
That's the same goddamn way I feel about right now. This is the future's prohibition. They're gonna look back on this and be like, this is fucking foolish. Why would you do this to people? Why would our country do this to people? They're gonna look back and it's gonna say the same thing for the same reasons back then that it was stupid. It's the same reasons right now it's stupid.
I would counter that by saying, you know how many millions of people smoke with weed being criminalized who don't get brought up on criminal charges? That same lady who you're saying who would need that medicinal marijuana to help out with her medical condition could get it anyway. Criminalized or non-criminalized, decriminalized. She could get that weed. She could get that cannabis, one way or the other. So
what?
I'm just saying that
I don't
it's
want the
hard
risk
to-
because there's how many people are in jail for criminalization? There's a mother.
But
There
there
was
are
a
people in
mother.
jail
Hold on,
for
let me finish.
falsified
There was a
rape.
mother who's been in jail for 20 plus years because she was trying to sell, I think it was cocaine or something. But still, like she got in jail for 20 plus years for a drug charge, right? For her first time, she had just lost her job. She was trying to figure out something. They put her away for life. She's been in there for 20 years off of dealing a little bit of
Are you
cocaine.
talking about the 62-year-old lady?
It was a mother. I don't know. She went to
60
jail.
62
Yeah, and
year old.
recently brought up again. But I feel like all that shit is stupid, right?
It is.
I feel all that shit is stupid. And the same reason she got life, but the same reason another kid could get pulled over or shot because he might have had marijuana in the car.
And if it was
It's
not
foolishness.
illegal,
That's
if it was
why
not illegal,
it's-
the demand would not be the same.
It wouldn't be
The
the same.
demand would
dude.
not be the same.
We've already
Wait
seen.
a minute.
They're
If it wasn't
reporting
illegal, the demand
the
would be
demand
the
would
same.
not be the
What
What do
same.
you mean?
there's already reporting in Colorado and California that since they legalized, the demand for people who are going out, and this is reporting, right among the people, they're like, yeah, I don't use it as much, or I'm not as interested, or especially with the youths. The youths aren't so interested in getting it because there's an opioid epidemic taboo going around the country anymore. That's not
so
why.
Now there's new drugs coming around. There's different drugs. Like not everybody wants to smoke marijuana. The problem with smoking marijuana is the smoking.
The opioids have been around since marijuana's been around. That's not new.
I
don't think them legalizing marijuana curbs the demand.
It's not what you think. We're talking about things that have been reported. Like these are surveys. These are questions that people ask.
What are these people asking? Because
there are countries that have data.
Smoke weed, and them legalizing or decriminalizing whatever has no bearing on whether they smoke weed or not.
You don't think they'll feel relief? And also, what about their kids? What about their kids? Or what about the kids of the person next door to them?
Do you want your kid walking home from school, walking past a weed pharmaceutical shop every single day?
They walk past 7-Eleven and alcohol in it every day.
It's not the same
thing. Kids
are
given pills.
Because there's a fad around weed. There's a fad around an intoxicant where you have to be 21 to buy that alcohol. You got to be 18 to buy that weed. But
which is why
you have to be 18 to buy tobacco. I don't know what age is going to be for weed. We don't know. It's not legalized yet.
I'm just saying that my point with the whole thing is, for bringing that up is,
I mean, you would have to be, especially if you want to buy weed. You would have to be a certain age. They have to put an age cap.
But that's
they will.
They have to.
That's how you create a demand by telling somebody that they can't have something.
Yeah, like
there was a demand for weed before somebody said you can't have it. You know what I mean? Like there's a.
I don't know. When did you?
I think it's only because
I don't know.
Criminalization of it. Of course, anybody is going to stand for that. Because it doesn't make any sense, bro. Like when's the last time you smoked weed?
What does that matter with this conversation?
I don't understand how
you just need to do an ad hominem
you can be so adamant
about. It doesn't
matter
when I smoked weed. It's called an odd hominem attack. It's got nothing to do with my personal whether I smoked weed or I had a beard yesterday. It doesn't fucking matter.
I just never understood your adamance on legalization or decriminalization when you don't partake in it. So you don't really understand, like, you don't really understand the want to have the weed, what people are willing to go through to get it. It doesn't matter whether they decriminalize it or not.
Okay,
people are going to feel that need for it.
Here's the thing. All right, let me say this. Right. All right. So,
but I've noticed here's an experience we've been doing. This is the 37th podcast we've done, and you have been very adamant about weed. But I've never seen you buy, purchase, smoke. I've seen you smoke. I'm not going to say that, but it's been years since I've seen you have anything to do with it. So I'm just trying to understand why you care so much, because there are other story. There are other drugs.
I have a personal story. Let me tell you this. All right. So
there are other drugs that demand more attention.
There's
than
a personal story. Here's maybe a reason that to fuel this perspective I have.
Every day that are legal.
When I was going
you don't care about delegalizing those.
Oh, I didn't care.
Let me tell the story. All right. When I was going to Elizabeth City from Norfolk State, right? So I went and I was riding with my friend Heavy and Ace.
This was 10 years ago, but
this was 10 years ago. Yes. But let me tell you the story because every experience impacts our lives, right?
It's a long time ago.
So anyway.
This was before decriminalization was even a hot button issue. But go ahead.
Anyway, so like I was saying, so we were going down to Elizabeth City. We got pulled over, right, by the cops. Heavy panicked, right? This nigga ate because he was panicking. This nigga crushed like a half fistful of marijuana, just ate that joint right there because he was afraid he was about to get locked up, right? And we were all fucking panicked because there were dogs sniffing all around the cars. The reason they pulled us over, I don't know why, because it was 4 black people in the fucking car.
Did the dude get hurt?
And in midnight.
No, I'm talking about him eating the weed.
Shut the fuck up, let me finish. So what I'm saying is, what happened it was a panic. No, you can't. So it was a panic. That didn't have to happen.
Right.
Well, why did they pull us over? There were 4 black people driving in the car. Why were they looking for 4 black people driving the car? Because they might have weed. There might be a reason to lock these people up. There's a commission for that.
Maybe you ran a stop sign. Maybe you didn't stop all the way to the stop sign. Maybe you ran a red light. It could have been a million reasons.
So we're on the freeway with the 50 other cars, right? But anyway, what I'm saying is that none of that had to happen, right? There was no need for that panic. They brought we had to wait. They brought a dog from some other place to sniff around, sniffed all of us. Yeah, we were all in handcuffs for like 2.5 hours.
Right.
All that shit happened. It didn't have to fucking happen if they weren't looking for this harmless ass drug. Heavy was high for a couple hours. He was like tripping balls. It's fine. The next day he was cool, right? There's not that fucking serious, right?
Right.
So second occasion.
That's why you want to legal.
Let's second occasion.
That's why you want to decriminalize.
Second occasion. Me, you, and all the homies. We was driving on Florida. Remember?
Right,
and you remember that shit. And this nigga, we
he
got pulled over.
Blunt,
He ate the fucking blunt because he was fucking panicked, right?
Almost
there
ate
was
the
no,
blunt. He didn't eat it.
He didn't
okay,
eat it.
And that was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
and also,
But go ahead.
Yeah.
Finish your story.
anyway, time doesn't matter, D. Those
does
are
matter.
irrelevant. Those are
It
irrelevant
does matter.
points. You don't think I was for legalization then?
And let
you
me-
don't
let me
think
go
if
back
they
to the-
hold on? Did you ask anybody? Because if you'd have asked me then, I'd be
Nobody
like, hell
cared
no,
about
this shit doesn't need to be
legalization then
illegal.
because it wasn't a hot button issue.
You're
it wasn't
a fool
up for
if you
debate.
think that, D. People have been talking about legalization of marijuana
You
for
weren't.
50 plus years.
You weren't.
And go on. What else?
Anyway, so look, let me go back to the shut the fuck up comment a couple minutes ago. And I said this to Mumbles on the way up here in the car. As a host of a podcast, D, I noticed this. And now 37th episode of The Intelligent Idea. No, I never get mad because I've known y'all too long. I've known y'all too long to get mad at anybody. You know what I mean? And I'm not mad. I think that debate makes for good conversation, makes for good podcasting, right? Like, you can't all agree. If all four of us agreed up here, there would be no need for the debate. But I do notice, as a host of a podcast, D, you get very emotional and sore on certain subjects.
Because you be
But
interrupting
I
me. You
feel
just
like- I feel
attacked
like-
me 3 different times.
I feel like that when the microphone is on and we're recording.
Am I tripping?
No, not
Am
at
I
all.
tripping?
But Juice does this when he drinks. I'm used to it. This is our 37th episode.
Yeah, it's only because of this.
But you do get very emotional at certain subjects. Sometimes when we talk
You
about,
see me Kirk sober, right?
but sometimes when we talk about racism or decriminalization or marijuana, you do get very emotional and you get very upset. I feel like at this platform that we have, the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast, episode 37, is a platform for open debate where we should be able to have discussions without, we can get mad, but without being personal about it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you were personal right there, but I do know that you do
not
get
about to
very.
flip this shit on me, dude.
I do notice you do get very
you did
emotional
3
sometimes.
ad hominem attacks on me just now. Talking about
It
when was the
wasn't an
last
attack.
time
It was an observation.
and
It was an
and how is
observation
it
that you
relevant?
don't use weed, so I don't understand why you
And I
care so
explained
much
it to
about
you.
the.
I explained it to you how many times?
I understand about the decriminalization. Nobody wants somebody to go to jail and get locked up for a dime.
And legalization,
right? But those stories that you just referenced happened well over a decade ago.
But they still affected
And they
it.
were never the topic
part of my experience of my life.
decriminalization of marijuana.
Are you
was
saying
not
my experiences aren't relevant because they were 13 years ago? Is that
to
what you're
this
saying?
conversation? Yes, kind of, because the
And explain
decriminalization
how.
of marijuana was not an issue. Nobody
It's always been an
Nobody
issue.
in the mainstream was talking about decriminalization of marijuana when we went to Florida and DeAndre almost ate that blunt. Nobody.
We never
Who the
needed
fuck
them in
were
the
you
mainstream.
talking- Where
But
were you
now
have
it's
this
in the mainstream
conversation.
because it's being legalized in certain states, and
where-
people are making
what
millions of
mainstream were
dollars.
you
off of
looking
it.
at? What mainstream were you looking at? Because if I recall correctly,
Right.
people were talking about marijuana legalization in the fucking 70s.
60s.
60s, 70s.
Y'all weren't born in the 60s and 70s, so
And-
y'all don't know that. But
And
just
go on,
Texas.
second of all,
What else does that
we're
mean?
in the 2000s. Okay?
And
it
was
is
the same problem,
it is
right?
a fact that we did not mention marijuana legalization or decriminalization one time on that whole trip
Who was
to
we?
Florida. That trip we went on to Florida, you did not talk about decriminalization one time. Once. So I'm just saying, like, if you cared about it, if you
I thought
cared
we were
about
going
it
to
back
jail,
then-
nigga. Like shit.
If
I was
you
like,
cared-
oh, you're
if you
fucking
cared about it back then,
decriminalized.
and I'm sure when you were riding with your friends in Norfolk, y'all didn't talk about decriminalization. So
Sometimes you
I
don't
don't
talk
think-
about things you don't feel like you have options.
because nobody
And
was
you know
talking
what?
about it.
And you know what?
Honestly.
Maybe the reason was I wasn't as politically aware as I am now.
Correct.
But do you
I
think
feel
that
that.
it changes? Do you think that changes my perspective? You don't think that if I knew what I knew now, back then, I wouldn't have the same perspective? Because as far as what I've experienced, and I'm talking about my relevant life experiences, things that led up to that shit.
I think you are on the side of decriminalization more for a moral issue than a use issue. You don't use it, so you don't.
What's the difference?
It's like who was that pharmaceutical guy who raised the price of that drug from like $60 to $700? What was that guy's name?
Smug face punch him in
You
the
know what I'm
face.
talking about? Yeah. But you don't care that they raised the price of that drug. You know why? Because you don't use it. You know, you think it's a fucked up thing to do. Why would you
Dude.
raise the price of a drug from $60 to $700?
I think this is a fucking terrible
But
idea to raise
nobody-
the price. That's a
who-
terrible thing to
who's
do.
talking
To
about that?
$700?
Who's talking about that right now?
Everybody loves that this nigga's in jail
now,
right
the
now.
fact that he raised that drug,
he didn't go to jail for that.
He didn't go to jail for that. No,
but everybody loves the fact that his dumb fucking smug face, shitty face ass
he is
in jail right now.
Bitch. I'm not saying he's right.
I'm sorry.
I'm not saying he's right. He is a smug faced idiot, but the fact that he raised the price of that drug
makes him a terrible person. And
it does, but
he should
it
right
doesn't
away
affect
in jail.
you because you don't use it and you don't.
It doesn't affect me, but doesn't mean I can't feel that it's wrong.
Right.
And
I'm just saying, why don't you care so much about that as you do about decriminalization of marijuana? Because you don't use either or. You know what I mean?
Because people.
Why is marijuana so important to you
because nobody's going to jail for not using that drug, right? Nobody's going to jail for not being able to access for the $700 drug, right? But people are and will continue to go to jail for possession of a minimally psychoactive recreational plant, and that also has medical benefits, right? So that's why, right? Mm-hmm. There's actual reason, and also not just that. It's that black people get arrested more for it and serve longer sentences and have how much bills or much more money do you owe, or do you get in trouble or have to owe the government for being caught with this, right? Like, it makes black people's lives so much worse. Like, it's a whole range of effects that this drug being illegal and this drug being criminalized that has affected people like me, right? And I have empathy for all of those people, even people I haven't met, even people I don't fucking have any contact with. I don't know how else to explain it to you, man.
I mean, I'm just pointing out the fact that, like, we're all human and we care about what we care about and we don't care about what we don't care about. And the things that we don't care about are as important as the things that we do, but we don't care about it because it's not in our realm of caring, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you either care or you don't.
I don't understand what you're saying.
I understand what I understand what he's talking about.
The Redskins name. You think morally they should change the Redskins name, right?
Yes.
It's the
I do.
right, it's
But
the right
also
thing to do.
understand nobody's going to jail over that shit.
And I think that too, right?
That
but you don't really care if they change it.
Chris doesn't care, right?
It's a name. To me, that's a darn. That name has been there for how many years? Decades.
But you
and no one said nothing about it.
I'm on the record saying
and nobody said nothing about it until some one person got offended by it for some stupid reason.
It's not
I think it was a group of people
and it's not a stupid
were
reason.
called
That's
that.
that's like looking at the Confederate flag and saying, "Oh, this is not offensive." That's like hearing,
Now, see,
the N-word and saying this is not offensive.
We're getting on a touchy subject.
But it was wrong back then. It was wrong now.
It was wrong. It was always wrong. It was always wrong.
Right.
It was always wrong.
Well, but then no one said nothing about it until.
But this is the point, though.
Now, decades later,
I don't think.
But are we okay with change not happening because it's been like this for a long time?
Exactly.
Is that what we're doing? Like, is that what we're okay with?
No, but y'all don't really care if they change it or not.
They changed the Wizards. They changed the Bullets to the Wizards.
They did do that shit, and that was dumb.
But that flew under the radar, and nobody even thought about that.
Because DC had the highest murder rate in the country.
And nobody even thought about that until they started making a big deal over the Redskins name. But I'm saying the reason I brought the Redskins is y'all don't watch football. Juice in particular. You don't watch football. You don't pay attention to the team. You don't follow the team. Mm-mm. You think they should change it morally. Yes. You think they should change the name because it's a racist name. But you don't really care. It don't affect your life if they change the name or not. If they did change the name, your life would go on as it did before they changed the name.
It doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean that you can't empathize.
You can't say
it's apples and oranges. Like, how do you weigh what's important and what's not?
Well, so you think if I was a Redskins fan and I watched football every Sunday and I thought the name should change, my feelings would be more relevant?
I think
as far as the team name, yes, because you follow the team, you support the team, you buy the team's merchandise.
But do you think, no, because if I was morally against the name, even if I was a fan of the team, I wouldn't buy their merchandise, right? But do you think that would make me, my position more relevant? And
it would if you were a fan of the team, yes.
But why?
Because you support the product that's out there on the field.
Even if I believe it's wrong.
The fact that you didn't watch them before they changed the name, so you're not going to watch them after they change the name. Nope. So it doesn't matter to you. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
It does, because what we're doing is setting a precedent for the future. You understand?
Man, you can. I guess it's a precedent, But it's like we care about what we do care about, and we don't care about what we don't care about. And
right.
That's just a human. That's not you. That's human nature.
I understand. We can't care about everything. It's just not enough of us. There's not enough brain cells in my brain to care about every atrocity that's happening on this planet. There's so many.
We're not supposed to.
There's so many. We
that.
can't. We can't.
You can.
Man.
Yeah, I feel you. Like Steph brought up the Confederate flag a little while ago, right? Like if you saw somebody
know
flying
what
the
the fuck is
Confederate
wrong.
flag, you'd get mad at that, right?
Just say something.
But what if those same people flying that Confederate flag saw you flying a Pan-African flag? Marcus Garvey or something like that, and they got offended and wanted you to take it down. You wouldn't want to take that down. This is my flag. I like this.
Where is the flag?
Say it's out in front of your house or anything.
Private property. You can do it.
You care about that flag, so you wouldn't want to take it down. You don't care about that rebel flag, so you'd be like, take it down. I don't want to see that.
If it's their private property, do it.
I still think you'd be like,
you can have a Nazi flag. No,
if you saw a Nazi flag use, I feel like you'd be right out in front of that motherfucker's house. Like,
I might
take that shit down.
I might piss on their mailbox, right?
Bruh, I feel
but
like you would go
they
down
have
to
the
the
right to fly that flag, and I'm not going to take it down. You know why? Because they're within their rights, and I believe in freedom of speech.
I feel you. But I still feel like you knock on their door and be like, yo, so what's up with that rebel
flag?
Right there, dog.
I ain't going to say shit to them.
We've
They say
doors in our lifetime.
and she waved her flag or whatever, and they got the Confederate flags on. But the reason why a lot of people would say about their Confederate flag more than hers because of what that flag usually represented.
Yeah,
it represented everything that they did in the South. Racism. It represented everything that was going wrong down South.
That's what it represents.
That big flag down there
us.
on the highway. Was it? Where was it?
95.
That big flag down there.
I see shit.
They want to take that, and like I said, I'd be pretty mad.
But that's how it is for
where
us.
is it though?
But I've seen it.
If it's on public property,
I've seen it from the opposite view.
That's government funded. It's for everybody. It's not just for this particular racist set of people. Like you have to fly something that's representative.
That big of a flag
to fly over the freeway, right?
Flag.
It's a big move.
Yeah, that's more than just someone's lawn. You know what I'm saying? You got a flag over the darn highway, and that big. That's the size of it. You can put in front of
There's some rich ass Trump supporters.
That ain't no front lawn flag. That's something different.
I don't know. That's the thing. It's still up there, and I would imagine
it was down before, but somebody put it back up there. It was.
Well,
down
there was
they got the right to fly
the
though,
street
it's private property.
from where my house is. Their construction company that they hired, they were really pressed throughout their entire process to have a Confederate flag up. They had it on their trucks. They had it on their those things that go way up high. The
antenna?
No, the construction.
Cherry picker.
Yeah, they had it on everything. Like it was waving from all of their stuff.
That is so weird.
And
so pressed.
Yeah, they were very pressed. The thing is, it's like what it represents for one group of people is not what it represents for everybody. What's representative for everybody. For some people, it is a representative of their culture and where they came from. And sometimes we don't all come from a positive story. We can sit here and talk about our stories of where we came from, and they're not all great, but they're still our stories, and that is representative of their history, and they look at it as such. They don't look at it and feel the same way that we feel about it because they didn't experience those feelings.
True that.
And they can't empathize with it. They try to, but they can't. They don't empathize with it.
Weren't we having a conversation a couple weeks ago? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The problem is, if you look at the new generations, you don't know what those things actually represent.
True.
That's the problem right there.
A lot of the new youngsters, they actually don't know what the Civil War was about. Like, there was a survey that came out a few months ago talking about the Holocaust and how 75% of the entire population in America, they actually know what happened during the Holocaust. They didn't even know what the Holocaust was. And you're like, that's why we're having so many like neo-Nazi group right now, because all those young people don't actually know what it means to be a Nazi when it actually started.
In this day and age of the internet and like access to information, how would you not? Like, well, what rock are you living under if you don't know about?
Depends if you're watching Alex Jones or not, because you could get a whole nother perspective on who the Jews were and what the Holocaust was, and he'll tell you he has a completely another version of the story, saying that the Jews were the problem and how they were.
And that's the thing right
raping
there.
And killing and bleeding out children,
and that's the thing right there.
Kicking babies and aborted fetuses and smashing their heads in. What
do you say on that joke? They can say something stupid like that, and they'll feebly just believe it off the top of their head without actually doing any kind of really researching on where that stuff, where they get their information from. And that's the problem with this generation. They don't research hard enough and long enough.
If it's in the video, they'll take it.
Yeah,
They
pretty
just,
much.
They just rely on things like Wikipedia, but you can write your own thing on Wikipedia. You can just write whatever you want on it. And if someone wrote something you don't like, you can actually go and edit it and put your own information, your own biases on it. And people are just going to read and believe it.
That's crazy. And also, but that's assuming they read.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like I said, man, youngsters and shit, myself also, I love a video, man. I like a concise, easily explained, well narrated video, man. And sometimes them joints can be made by anybody, dude.
Yeah, they can be
But
made.
the whole idea is to have critical thinking, man. Like,
Right.
it's all about critical thinking, understanding, knowing how to think and know how to just differentiate between the shit and the shinola, in the words of Terrence McKenna. Like, how to know the difference between shit and shinola. Like, what's real and what is just for show, supposed to look flashy, supposed to offer some insight, edgy, but really vapid and empty. Right.
Word, man. I don't even know how we got on this topic of how did we even get on marijuana legalization? Welcome to the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast.
Welcome to the Intelligent Idea Talkers
where we have
podcast.
no answers, only more questions.
Yes. We're not even sure we got here.
That's our slogan.
How do we get here?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't even know how we got on this conversation. Before the podcast started, it's funny because we were like, what are we going to talk about?
Stuff was like, I hate men. And then we were like, man, marijuana.
And then like an hour later,
I hate marijuana.
An hour later, we're deep in conversation. Like, how the fuck did we get to talk about this?
Confederate flag needs to smoke marijuana.
Yeah. The Confederate flag needs to smoke marijuana. So what if I came out in a Make America Great Again hat with a Confederate flag draped over my shoulder smoking a blunt? Would that be cool?
You can do it.
Well, you
Can I
if you
answer the question?
if you don't remember, you remember
I feel like Juice
when
wouldn't let
Little
me in the
John
house
used to
by
wear the Confederate
You
flag?
can come in. No, you can
Do you
come
remember
in.
that? Do you
Yeah,
remember
they do
when
the
Little
podcast
John
outside.
used to wear the Confederate
He
flag?
did. Didn't he have like a vest or something like that? Or?
He had there was videos of him with the full flag, full Confederate flag.
Who's this?
Little John.
He used to be
Well, I
cool.
remember that. Yes, it was.
Not everybody
not
takes
remember
it
that
as
shit.
I remember
offensive.
that.
Some of them just take it as this is Southern and I am Southern.
I think that, like I said, okay,
So-
now I remember Lil Jon, one of his videos or something, like he did have a daggone Confederate flag, and at that time when you looked at him doing it, I think I said just a representation of you from the South. But see, it's a perspective thing when it comes to that. The way you really represent it.
I think
And
part
I
of the
think
thing
for
is,
us, we're Northern, so it means something a little bit differently.
I think part of it is that we give too much credence to the foolishness of celebrities.
Right.
Exactly.
Damn sure do that.
Yeah.
Transition point.
To Kanye.
For sure.
I have a quick question before
Wait,
that.
that segue?
If I came in here with a Make America Great Again hat, would y'all get offended by that?
Huh?
What?
If I came in with the Make America Great Again hat, because honestly, that's a great hat, right? Make America Great Again. Who doesn't want to make America
When has
great?
America ever been great?
You know why? You know why people don't like that slogan or that hat?
When has America ever been
It
great?
has. At one
I'm
point
sure
it
for
was.
some, it depends on your perspective. We
It
just
was-
said,
at
right?
one-
Your,
at one
right.
point it
As
was.
Your
a black
perspective, America is
as
great.
a black person wearing that hat, tell me when
was America
in
great
the
for
history
black
of
people?
America it has been great for you.
maybe
Not just-
maybe
okay.
before, maybe during
Not
times
just
like
they not
Black
beating
Wall
us this
Street
time.
or during times
Great.
where they had like
Like,
black empowerment.
That's a threshold.
When was that?
Maybe
Small
maybe for some
threshold.
people
That's a high
segregation,
threshold.
making it to segregation. Maybe for some people having a black president was making America great for black people, right? I mean, the way people rallied behind Obama, that was a great act to have a black
It was
president
awesome.
in office, you know.
But was that great for black people?
But I'm just talking about like just purely the hat. Like if I came in and said "Make America Great Again," or even a T-shirt, "Make America Great Again," like that's just a cool hat. I think it got negative press because Donald Trump popularized the phrase. You know what I mean? And that's
popularized
why
it,
people
but
get
it was also
offended.
He
Reagan.
wasn't the first.
He
He
wasn't the
wasn't
first.
actually the first one. I don't remember which
I
president.
think it was Reagan.
Yeah.
There was one president who actually run on that specific
Yeah.
campaign. He
Guy who
wasn't
fucked
the
up the
first.
red states.
I would think it
Reaganomics,
was
man.
Reagan. I think he probably was Reagan because he used to.
It was
wear
Reagan.
that. Yeah, Reagan.
So a shirt that says "Make America Great Again" wouldn't be dope. That would be.
And
tight.
you know what the problem is? When, like I said, it comes back to what you said. The simple
'Cause
fact
it's
is
just
because
a
of-
phrase.
it comes back to what he said. Or one of y'all said that. It depends on the celebrity who's wearing it. They whoever perpetuates it, that's who puts
The brand
the
on
dark
it,
the cloud
the
on
energy
it.
on
Like I
it.
said, because like I said, if you wanted to wear that, I mean, if Trump wasn't wearing it and he decided to wear it, they wouldn't really say nothing about it.
Like,
But
oh,
because
where you get that
yeah.
hat from? Where you get that hat from?
But
man?
because Trump is wearing it, There's already bad rep behind that phrase.
But Kanye got to know better because he's we already know hip hop is very influential and he's one of the greatest rappers of our time.
Because this generation is so feeble-minded when they say these celebrities would do all this stuff. They follow these different celebrities, and then whatever the celebrity does or say. Well, I remember when that what was it? P Diddy with that stupid haircut when he was doing that run, running that crazy half a haircut mohawk, whatever they had. Yeah.
That's right.
He had that
the mohawk. Yeah.
After he did that, I started seeing a lot more people with that ridiculous haircut. It's like if a celebrity does it, the rest of the world, everybody else will follow eventually.
Well, those are America's royalty.
Well, celebrity in itself is a market.
Yeah,
I said they whoever platform they got, they are the market. You're right. Yeah.
Celebrity is created.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that someone lives.
Why do you guys
still
think?
one of the dopest rappers ever.
Why do you guys think that we give so much credence to celebrity? Why do you think that? Like, why do you think it's? Because I don't think it's just an American thing. I think it's a human thing.
I don't think
it's
we do.
I think we always give credence or give more. We expect more of people who have the ear of more people, right? And in this day and age, it's very different than how it used to be because we have Twitter, because everything is so
technological now.
It's the perception of power.
Especially the black community, we lack.
It's just, I agree.
Central leadership. There's no Malcolm X. There's
but
no
not just
Martin
black people,
Luther King. So we need somebody to kind of look up to as far as a leader in the community. When they want a black face to stand out in front of a crowd and mobilize the black people, they're going to go to a black basketball player or a black rapper or,
instead of just doing
LeBron James is one of the most influential people in the black community in America, and he's a basketball player.
But let's take this out of the black circle. Let's take this out of the black circle. I'm talking about, like, why do Americans, all of us, like all Americans, white, black, Asian, Latino, you name it, like, why do we look to those celebrities? Why do we look to Denzel Washington and feel like he should have something relevant to say? Why do we look at Samuel L. Jackson and think he should have something relevant? Why do we look at
Samuel L. Jackson? Is a
we don't, right? But why do we look? Why do people look to Chris Pine, right? Or why do people look to Johnny Depp and expect him to say something relevant?
I don't. Like Stephanie said, the platform.
I
Like
think
you said, with the platform that they have and the actual popularity that they attain. Because they're so popular, the platform that they're on and the popularity of the game, it follows them. They look.
They're able to mobilize.
They're able to speak, and somebody
speak to a lot of people at once
because of who they are, where they're sitting at, and their connections and their reach.
And in a way, that's saying like they have power because they have power, right? Like they're popular because they have power, and they have power because they're popular. Yeah, it's a self-feeding cycle.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call it?
That's
feedback circle.
Mm-hmm. That's almost how this country is. Like I say, if you got the power, if you got the
juice,
you got it. So whoever has the gold makes the rule.
I don't think any of us at this table are.
Never heard that one. I like that.
Yeah, that was whoever has the gold makes the road.
Make the road.
But
and it's going.
I kind of got that. I'm actually quoting that off of
really?
Aladdin.
Yeah, Aladdin. I'm actually quoting whoever like the golden rule.
I'm mad you knew that off the break. Okay, that shows you got kids. Okay, and I'm mad you quoting Aladdin in here on this podcast.
You know, you shouldn't have said that because I was all in.
Right, dude, that was our generation.
Was that
I was thinking, man, Genie's so wise,
man. That was
man.
Jafar, though. That was Jafar. The skinny dude in the jail. But then when I thought about some
you in here quoting Jafar, though?
But some of these cartoons got small messages in them if you listen to them. I said, whoever has the gold makes the rule. And you think in this country
programming from the beginning.
The way this country is, if you got the gold, you're gonna have the power to make the rules. You got the money, money talks. You got money.
I think most of us, all of us here at this table, and I know especially me, I've always prided myself on being able to think for myself. Exactly. So I've never felt that I've been influenced to do anything or think some type of way, but not think to do anything by a rapper or somebody who's a celebrity or something like that. Like, I can think for myself. Like, when I heard these comments from Kanye about slavery being a choice and all that, and it sounded ignorant when I first heard it, and I was like, man, you should be, like the guy said in the TMZ office, like, you should be a little more responsible to that because you do have a large following of people who are paying attention to you.
It's true.
But you're not going to influence me in the way I think one way or the other. Like, I can form my own opinion as far as, what I think and the way I'm going to be influenced.
But the sad part about this country, just like you said, you form your own opinion. You think for yourself. You don't follow styles or follow charismas or whatever. in this country, if you don't, let's say, if you want to think for yourself, you're automatically being some kind of opposition. You're automatically going to be, some trouble.
It's the nature of a free thinker.
For yourself. You don't follow them. You don't follow them. You don't. I said, you want to be your own person, which you should be. You shouldn't follow these and stuff. You shouldn't follow nobody else. You should think for yourself.
You have to learn how to be selective.
Yeah,
because
eventually. I never thought about following people. I just don't, get into following people because, like I said, you got your own. You're your own man, your own woman. You're supposed to think for yourself.
Everybody follows
think,
something.
You know what I'm saying? Huh?
Everybody follows something. Everybody conforms to some type of programming.
That is our cultural way. It's a human
You're
nature.
Religious.
That's how you
relate with being black, right?
I relate with Trump. Go ahead and say it. I know you're about to say it. They don't call me. They don't call me all types of Trump names.
These are all a matter of perspective, and it's a part of.
I wouldn't say religious, but
it's a part of a selective programming, and everybody kind of it's a survival instinct to be in a group.
See now,
to choose a group. And to stick with the group is how humans survive.
Cultural programming can come from like hunter-gatherer groups. If the civilization we lived in were hunter-gatherers, then we culturally appropriate ourselves to that group of what they do. You know what I mean?
And if you in that group with a free thinker that was like, hey, I don't want to hunt and gather. I want to stay here.
And grow
and I want to grow this plant here. They'll look at you like you crazy and probably beat your ass until you get out there and hunt and gather some shit. You better get your ass out there and go hunt something. Like, come on, bring some food back to the community. Like, do something, help our community thrive. Like, so propaganda is not something new, right? It's always been part of propaganda. Is culture. It's what humanity uses to survive, right? That's how we band together into cohesive groups, and without it. There's nobody alone will survive in the wilderness. It's just not a thing. Man. Like and that's part of our existence, man. Like that's how we got here, right? Like we formed bonds with people. Even to this day, you form bonds with people, and you
survive in numbers,
right? And you click with those people because that's your survival.
That's almost like animal instinct. Really, think about it.
It is absolute animal instinct.
Animals
to think we're not animals is ridiculous.
I mean, we experience that even right now because although we're podcasting, this is a comfort zone for us because we are comfortable with each other because we have known each other. We have a certain bond together that we can even say the things that we say. Although we are creating a platform to speak to others about what it is that we're talking about.
Right.
It's still, this is our group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, whether or not, it's a Trump era or a Kanye era or anything, it really has nothing to do with the way anyone lives their lives.
I think it can, though. When you have somebody with the power in this country that Trump has, it can affect the way we live our lives. Like the rules he enacts, the things he does, the executive powers he is able to administer, they will affect the lives of people around us, our communities, right?
Even
and those will affect us.
Federally,
yes.
It's
but
even
not
affected folks across the seas.
Not necessarily, because states always have the power to choose for their people.
They do have their own legislation.
States have their own legislation.
Luckily, we have a blue state right now.
It really does matter what happens within a state, and what we locally choose. Like who we choose as leaders locally actually plays much bigger role in our lives than it does federally. It doesn't matter who the president is. It doesn't. Like it does and it doesn't.
That's right. That's the truth is it does and it doesn't. Yeah. Like to a degree, it definitely does matter who's in power at the top. But you have to be a part of your local government. Like you have to know what's going on. You have to put people who will decide in your interests, or if not yours, the people you know, the people you love, or at least in the direction you want to see your environment go.
Right. I think where it affects us more is the perception of us internationally.
our international perception has to be hurting.
Oh,
it is
been-
hurting.
It's
It's
been
been
hurt.
destroyed.
It's been hurt.
Do they
Wait,
hate us outside of
let's-
America?
let's-
I mean,
Yeah.
let's
It
talk.
is.
It's destroyed.
Let's
like,
talk
why?
about.
We didn't do
Our
nothing.
reputation has been destroyed.
I would feel like
But that started to happen long before Trump. When
Oh, yeah.
when we
Oh, yeah.
started to see those numbers go down,
Bush,
and
Clinton,
during
Reagan,
in the
Reagan.
Pretty
yeah,
much Reagan,
like-
they started in.
when
Vietnam and me before that. Like,
Vietnam was the biggest one.
when our stock
Vietnam was the
market
biggest one.
was crashing, everybody saw that. Everybody felt it, and people.
But this is a global economy, so if our stock market is crashing, you have to know that China's stock market is taking a hit. You know
Well,
what I
that's
mean?
how it
you have to
is.
know that.
But they're not crashing.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
They're
Like
not.
we're
China's-
not crashing
First
either.
of all, it was identified at least I don't know a minimum of 15 years ago that China would be the next the next leaders of the
Superpower.
world.
But let's talk about Kanye though, because I would beg the question as far as Kanye goes, and I had to get back on Kanye before you just got too deep into it with Trump. Cause we thought about naming this the Trump Idea Talkers podcast at one time. 'Cause
Try
we
not
could
to talk about him.
We could talk about Trump.
I try.
Out of the times
Try
Trump
not
been
to.
elected, we probably had maybe 20 podcasts.
Hey,
We
dude.
talked about Trump for 19 of them. You know what I mean?
It's us and the rest of the media, man.
But I would beg the
Say what?
question: how relevant is Kanye West with the younger generation? Because I live with a 17-year-old. He don't listen to Kanye West at all. I mean, I asked him, you listen to Kanye West? He knows who he is. He knows Kim Kardashian, but he doesn't listen to him. He doesn't go back and bump Graduation. You know what I mean? He doesn't listen to the old Kanye that we came up with. You know what I mean?
Wait, register.
He's relevant to us because we were coming of age at a time where he was, on some conscious rap, and he was just cool, man. Kanye had this energy when he rapped. Like, you just listen to his rap, like, he just had this energy that just drew you to him. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, all his albums were tight, but is he really that relevant amongst the younger generation? I don't know, because I know Michael, he's 17, don't listen to this band at all. He don't even listen to Kanye.
I think it just like I said, he had a specific era that we went.
A Pacific. Yeah.
Ding.
Y'all know what I said. And he had a
Oh, whatever.
he had a Pacific and the Atlantic.
He had an Atlantic.
I think he was in a specific
Yeah.
era. After the 21st century really kicked in, that's when, like I said, that generation kind of, this new stuff started coming in. And the older generation, that generation, Kanye West, all them cats, they kind of got,
Push
fade
up.
out a little bit. But now they got this new generation of whatever that is, whatever they call it.
The newer generation are into dudes like Lil Xan.
Like
or,
what they call mumble rap is what they call it.
Or what's the other dude's name? Tekashi 6ix9ine. Have you seen this fool?
I don't know.
I don't
You
even
ever seen
know
that
who
dude
that
named
is. I don't know
Tekashi
any of
6ix9ine?
these
Dude with the
names.
colorful hair, rainbow hair.
Oh, that fool?
This
Tech9?
man, Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, I seen a picture of that idiot.
This man got tattoos, 6ix9ine tattoo on his face and whatnot.
They got rainbow
This
color,
dude
man.
looks like the biggest idiot I've ever seen in my life, though. I'm like, how can you possibly go into a room full of record executives, white record executives,
And
looking
like
like that? You know what I mean? And be taken seriously as an artist.
But because, like I said, all they see.
That's ridiculous. And he's like a multi-platinum selling artist. I mean, he's
never
selling
heard of
records.
Yeah, I seen the picture.
Procedures, it's not our generation. The only reason I've heard of him is
That's
because
what
I
it
have
is,
YouTube
man.
Red,
It's
and he rotates songs in sometimes. So, I mean, when you see this dude, you be like, look at this. I mean,
What's
just
his name?
tattooed up.
Lil Kiki.
Lil Kiki or something? Which
Yeah.
one?
21 Savage. Oh, and when
Yeah, I
you
heard
listen to their
21
raps,
yeah, I
all
heard
they
21
do is
Savage.
talk about selling drugs,
Money.
fucking girls,
That's
and
it.
money. Like, they don't
Same
talk
thing.
about nothing else.
It all.
I just feel like that's what our parents.
That's all I
I was
hear.
sitting here thinking what was different
No,
about
right,
us.
they were like, when you listen to Kanye's
we
rap,
listen to these cats, man. No.
Sorry.
when you listen to Kanye's raps,
People sleep.
Kanye actually has substance in his music. When you listen to Common rap, Common has substance.
Yeah,
When you was at
Even-
3-6 Mafia,
Even
they
Black
was
Thought.
talking about what you doing
When you-
over there.
I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
it has-
that's when we differentiate
Scissor.
between art and.
This is a
I mean, that was creativity. Now, I mean,
When we talked about Kendrick winning the Pulitzer, we
Yeah.
talked about
Like-
was 3-6 Mafia considered art the way
Oh,
Kendrick Lamar was
skeet,
considered art.
motherfucker.
Dude, 3-6 Mafia was dope.
It was
I'm sorry, I don't care.
I mean, it
what
was
you
They
say.
had their time, but you go in there and
But
listen.
we
I'ma
listened to
get my
Lil
freak on
John,
while she suck
Low
my-
Rider,
Yeah.
you name it. We
Bro,
listened to
they
lot
had a
of
song called "I'ma Get My
Project
Freak On
Cat.
While She Suck My Ding Dong." That's
Yeah.
some ignorant.
Slide
Yeah.
on my knob.
And
This is
it's
Yang
ignorant.
Yang Twins.
It's slow.
Yang Yang
it's-
Twins.
Mm.
Bruh, If you go back and listen to 3 6 now, you be like, this is ignorant. How did I ever party to this? This is ignorant.
Well, they're partying to
ignorant
the same
music.
stuff
Well,
of
that's
their
what- yeah.
generation.
But I'm just saying, like, they, you know, some rappers have more substance than, I mean, even Jay-Z has more substance than these dudes.
What
I mean,
was
Wait,
now.
Big
are they listening to
Bad
Jay-Z
Things.
nowadays?
I don't think so.
They didn't listen to 444?
No, I never heard who.
Michael doesn't
Jay-Z,
listen to the
the
same
newest
generation of
Jay-Z. Oh,
yeah,
rappers
yeah,
that we
444,
did.
yeah.
Like Common. He don't listen to Common. How can you not? I'm thinking, like, as a hip-hop fan, how can you not like Common?
When I was
That's not
coming
hip-hop.
up, I
That-
liked Common later on in life. But
This
when
isn't
I was
even
coming
rap
up, I
anymore.
was not into Common.
What do you mean? What's not hip-hop?
This isn't hip hop. This isn't
Oh,
even rap
I thought
anymore.
you meant like Common
what
was
they're
like,
listening
what?
to now is
No,
not
it's not.
rap
I'm about to get
anymore.
offended.
It's not hip hop. This is a new genre, right? So
This
our
is,
genre of hip hop and rap,
yeah,
it's
it's-
over. We have a
We're
few
like-
remainders, but right at this point, we are
Pretty much
R&B jazz right now,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
like we are the
Even
90s
these singing
mix.
even these
We are
dudes
kid and
singing.
play for the
What's
newest
this cat
generation.
name?
Oh,
Okay,
he said kid and
I'm
play,
just saying,
dog. Don't do that.
understand
Oh,
what's
man, come
happening,
on,
right? Let's be honest here.
But even this cat now, what's this dude? The Weeknd. Cats like
He's
that.
kind of dope, though.
He's-
I like
It was
a couple of
pretty
his
dope.
songs.
And he's
though,
talking
yeah.
about drugs. The entire, like his.
He can't
his
feel his
whole
face
album
half the
is
album,
about
dude.
Put that
drugs.
on his hard, though.
Can't feel his
Hardcore
face.
drugs.
He
I
said,
feel
I
like-
can't feel my face when I'm
He was
with
trying-
you.
he was
That was my
trying to-
joint, though, dog. They had that joint
He
going in
did
Wawa. I was ordering my sandwich like, because I love it. You know what I mean? Messing my sandwich
I'm gonna say,
up.
how you getting the joke?
I can't
And the
feel
joint,
my
rub
face
that shit in
when
his gums.
I'm with
You know what I'm
you.
saying?
Extra mayo. You know what I mean? Picking up the condiment on my
I
sandwich.
can't feel my nose.
Yo, no. I could
Nah,
never
but
see
see-
myself taking a nose blast. Did you ever see that joint?
Nah.
You know what I mean? Like, just, damn.
My head would explode. But I'm just saying. Nah, this
Taking
is
a
I do what it
blast.
feels like.
these
but
these
I don't
singing
wanna do it.
cats, man. These dudes nowadays, what they call R&B, 21/7. Now they want to sing on these songs now
Hmm?
and have them using that auto tune anyway. They ain't singing anyhow.
Oh, we had our
So-
era.
No,
T-Pain.
see, that fool. But see, I'm like I said, me personally,
Walk it
I
out.
listen to a lot of many old school
Yeah.
cats, anyway, like
I
Zap
still
Rock.
listen to Walk It Out. She's listening to Walk It Out on the way over there.
Stanky leg.
Walk it out.
You know what I'm
Walk it
saying?
out. Walk it out.
Dude, that's taking leg.
Soldier boy, tell him.
Yeah,
Wow,
man.
What happened to
big
him?
head fool.
No, he
what-
thugged
I mean,
himself out, tattooed up all his face.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you could have been
Big
on
cat,
Disney
yeah.
or something, man. You tattooing yourself up.
Yeah, but I'm
You
like I
could have
said,
been on.
I'm many of
You
them
could
cats.
have been a Marvel.
Yeah, I listened
Soldier
to
was one of the most
Zap
popular.
Rock, man. Them
Who?
guys- Zap Rock. Back then, that's
Huh.
the original, well, one of the original talk box. That's actually talk box, not this crap they got now with T-Pain did. Because I remember when T-Pain came out and he had that auto tune first.
I
They
don't
said
know,
he
Chris.
started that, but that was
I
not.
don't know. See, I swore you were
No,
listening
that's
to
what they
Computer
was-
Love on the way over here, dog. That's like some old
Boom.
school shit.
That's what I listen to. That's what I listen to.
Well,
But
see,
they try
come
to
on,
say-
see,
they
you
try
still
to-
kind of old school with it, though. See.
That's what they say. T-Pain, but see, what they didn't really know, because I remember when T-Pain came out, they started trying to say that he started that thing, but no, that's not Talkbox. What he used was auto tune. Talkbox was actually not the little wide tube connected to the keyboard.
You had to stick in your
And
mouth.
you stick your mouth in the keyboard and use the keys to turn your voice in high, low, whatever. That's the Talkbox. That's the kind of stuff.
You had to play it
yeah, you had
as
to
you
play that.
did it.
Yeah, you have to play that. I mean, that's the kind of music I get down. Computer look, I listen to that. That's my music right there.
So what?
That
Yeah.
is
That's
See, you was
technically
listening
older
to
than
Bobby
us.
Womack on the way over this joint, dog. I know you listening to Bobby
No, I was listening
Womack.
to Isaac Hayes.
It's
Oh,
like
this
the
is the
older
Isaac Hayes or
generation
whatever.
always looks sideways at the
Otis
younger
Redding.
generation
Play the Otis
when they
Redding.
see them doing something differently.
Hey.
But maybe what they're doing differently isn't
That's that shit.
very
though.
different from what we do.
And I know Steph has an appreciation for true hip hop because of the environment that you grew up around and that you were in, you know, especially as far as with you and Corey and you guys in business. And Corey is probably one of the dopest artists I've ever heard, definitely in person, man. Like, dude can spit crazy. But, like, do you lose respect for Kanye as a hip hop artist because of what he said?
As a
In
hip
his
hop artist,
TMZ video?
I can tell
I'm not
you
listening
that
to him.
I don't think I lost any respect for Kanye.
I'll listen to his old shit. I'm not like. First off,
I'm talking about you. You
Oh,
about to say
okay.
you're not going to listen to Kanye?
I'm not gonna listen to his new shit.
D. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. I feel like if he comes out with something hot, because I know how you felt about Kanye, man. I was there when we was listening to Graduation, man. I was there when Late Registration,
I
dog.
know,
We was
dude.
bumping Late Registration,
That's why
man.
it's so crazy. Man.
He's still in there. He's still there.
He's still in there.
He's still in there somewhere underneath all the
Stupidity.
stuff.
Underneath all the
First
fluffy
of all-
Kardashian.
First
Underneath
of
the
all-
Make America Great Again.
First of all, let's talk about if you really listen to Kanye, really listen to him, the very first album, and you compare his very first piece of work to what we're listening to now, nothing has changed. Kanye is exactly the way Kanye always was, and there's nothing about his brand has changed whatsoever.
I didn't listen to
Yeezus album was trash.
I didn't listen to Yeezus at all.
That was trash.
So I don't know. I listened to the last
Life
one I
of
listened
Pablo
to
was
was I didn't listen to that shit either.
That shit was tight.
The last one I listened to was My Twisted Dark Fantasy. I like that
That shit
shit.
was tight.
If you think about Kanye's
He's only had one bad album.
Kanye's brand and what he was talking about, nothing has changed about Kanye. Nothing has changed.
And that's what I'm saying. Like how
He's been a fool back then, I think.
Yeah.
He was a foolish, like the same, like this is, like to be honest, this is the same guy that jumped on stage and was like, yeah, Beyonce deserved it. I'll let you finish. No, Beyonce deserved it. It was a dick move.
I think that was more of a dick move than it was.
You're crazy. But here's the thing. We are realizing this is the same Kanye. This is the same Kanye that was like, George Bush doesn't like black people. This is the same Kanye.
Who
so I'm not
Kanye for that.
I respected him for that shit. But now he's like, black people, y'all can go to hell. This is like
he didn't say
He
that.
didn't say that.
He
Come
didn't
on,
say
Jude.
that.
He didn't say
that. And I
fair.
do feel like, I didn't, first of all, I'm going to put this out there that I did not watch the entire interview because I was tired. I was tired.
You didn't say that?
It was a very long, interview.
But
from what I was watching of his interview, I think that people picked out a lot of it and didn't quite get
agree
exactly what it is that he was trying to say, even if he didn't convey it properly.
That's what media does.
But that's a Kanye thing. I don't think
At the same
Kanye...
time,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Kanye, that is the genius of Kanye, is that Kanye will make you think about it. Kanye, it's like you're sitting here thinking, Kanye, how could you possibly do this? But you have to consider the fact that you are thinking about it.
Am I?
You are considering.
So I'm pretty sure that shit was wrong as fuck, and I was
you
just
are,
like, yeah,
you are
that's
thinking
stupid.
about it. He is relevant right now. We are talking about him, and that's what needs to happen for Kanye.
I'm bashing Kanye. I'm talking about him.
Well, Juice,
but I'm bashing his dumb ass.
You are a basher, though.
He's abashedly foolish.
But
what can I
mean,
say?
okay, he said slavery's a choice. It's stupid as shit to say. Why would you say that?
Why would you say
but
that?
he did have that part of the video where he went back up.
Did he have a point? What's slavery?
It's hard to.
After 400 years, I mean, come on.
Maybe he was talking about not so much as physical bondage, but mental slavery. Exactly. And honestly, we are all debt slaves.
I got that perception as well, that
slaves.
it wasn't a he wasn't talking physical slavery.
But that's easy for Kanye to say, being a privileged hip hop artist and mogul who is able to afford healthcare and basic things. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's easy for him to say slavery is a choice. Oh, you sure, Kanye? Because I mean, you might not be going through the same struggle as a lot of the black people.
That doesn't mean that Kanye hasn't struggled. Right. Kanye has also talked about his struggle and the things that he's gone through.
Kanye struggled a long ass time ago, though. I mean, he's married into the Kardashian family. Yeah, he's not struggling no more.
All I see is OJ, dude.
No, he ain't struggling no more.
He ain't black as
Kanye
Kanye.
within the same interview was talking about how he went broke.
Okay.
But he did come back later on in that interview and say that slavery was a mental choice.
You. I'm sorry. No, he was like, I'm sorry you feel that way.
But he said that we can't.
But that was his response.
He said something like, we can't continue the cycle of hate. We can't just do hate. Trump comes in, we hate. We have to sit down and have a conversation. And I kind of respected him for saying that. I mean,
isn't that what Dave Chappelle said and was like, yeah, turns out I was wrong. This motherfucker Trump up here tripping. Like, I remember the same heat. Like, Chappelle got the same heat. Like, last year. He was like, come on, guys, let's give Trump a chance. After all this shit, he comes out and was like,
but Dave Chappelle's
so we gave him a chance.
He has to play upon the popular opinion to get laughs. Maybe he just said some of that for a laugh.
What he also said, it was funny, but it was real. He's basically said that, does it really matter to us whether or not it's this president or not? Does it really matter? And yeah, when we go back and we think about it, does it really matter?
What do you mean?
What has he done that has changed anything for us? What has he done that's made anything better? And what has anybody done?
Okay, so here's a couple of things. Like, so it's not necessarily so much about Trump; it's about his cabinet, right? So he has put people who are against institutions like the EPA as the heads of EPA. Like the guy who's in charge of the EPA now has had sued the EPA like 12 times or something, some ridiculous number, because of these, not the sanctions, but the regulations that the EPA has for safety, public safety. This guy sued him because it interfered with his business in the oil companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Trump puts this guy in charge. That's the same guy who's who just got indicted for doing dealings with foreign companies, for oil companies using the administration, or not administration funds, but the government funds, or using his position to make deals, right? So he's being indicted, not indicted. I don't know the legal terminology. Anyway, he's in court for that shit right now, right? We also have the lady who's DeVos, right? Mm-hmm. So DeVos, she was against public education. Like, I'm not gonna go through all this shit, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you're paying attention, you see what's going on. It's not necessarily that Trump is. I mean, he's got some pretty fucking ridiculous shit going on with the pulling out of the Iran deal, pulling out of the Paris Accords,
or with Stormy Daniels.
None of this is a new scenario. None of it. None of this is a new scenario.
No, this has happened
this is
time
how
and time
it's
before.
always been. This is our country.
We were talking about this in the car on the way up there.
No. I disagree. Allow me to disagree. What I'm saying is, I feel like if you had another person in power right now, they probably would have listened to rational reason as to why we're in something like the Iran deal, right? And the fact that we pulled out of this Iran deal, that we assigned to as a country and agreed to make this deal with this other country to get them to stop making nuclear weapons, or not even making nuclear weapons, but to stop their nuclear energy program. And we made this agreement with other countries. I feel like another rational president who didn't have warmongers on his cabinet wouldn't do that, right?
Every president's had warmongers on their cabinet, though.
Agreed, Bush did. But I also feel like that wouldn't have happened. We have Bolton. Bolton, who was on Trump's cabinet as Secretary of Defense.
His name is Bolton?
Bolton. Dude, he's the same dude that...
Lord Bolton?
I don't know. This is the same dude that...
Lord Roose Bolton?
That,
is his first name Roose?
This is the same dude that was kind of pushed the Iran deal along with Newt Gingrich. I mean, not the Iran deal. The Iraq War. The Iraq War. Pushed it that made us attack Iraq along with Newt Gingrich and other dudes.
This man's name was Newt. What the fuck? Is that short for Newt?
Like, I'm sure there's more relevant parts to this story I'm talking about. Right. But what I'm saying is that this is a whole thing, right? Like, these people, like, we're being shoved into another war. I don't know if you guys are watching this shit, but
definitely.
That shit is definitely happening.
We always are. War is business.
And I feel like, and I feel like that maybe it didn't have to go this way. I feel like it wouldn't have had to go this way.
I think regardless, it would have went this way.
You think we went this way? You think Hillary Clinton would have pulled out?
I think it's a widely known secret that
I'm not for Hillary Clinton. Allow me to be honest.
Certain sections of government are corrupt. I think everybody knows and everybody has had seen instances of corruption within government. And,
yes,
I think a lot of corruption boils down to the individual. And I compare government to a TV show, right? You see the TV show, and I know, let me explain it. You see the TV show, you see the people in front of the camera. You might have 10 cast members. Mm-hmm. There's 100 cast members behind the camera that you don't see who are running things who are just as important to the production of that show. So government is kind of the same way. Trump is, yes, he's out front. He's the front man. He's in front of the camera. But there's 100 people behind him. You can't have a new person step into that presidential role who's never held political office before, especially, and just automatically know what to do. He's got people running his agenda for him. He's got constituents that he has.
He's not listening to nobody.
Mm-hmm. And the ones who actually come across with some kind of common sense, he fires them.
Yeah,
he gets rid of them.
He does get rid of them. Like, Trump does exactly what he wants.
He hires his people. He hires his people according to the way he thinks.
Yeah, he has an echo chamber in there, and they're all wrong. Yeah, and that's why shit's not working out for him.
First of all, he's a businessman to begin with. A sorry ass businessman at that.
Yeah, he is.
He's a sorry ass businessman.
How you not?
America is a business.
I said to him,
who's better to run a business than a businessman?
Than a sorry ass businessman, and that's what's happening.
And he's wrong again. I'm sorry. I'm not saying wrong, but I don't agree.
America is not a business. America is our country, but it's ran like a business.
That's what I'm saying. He runs his like a business.
The priorities and the important things.
As long as we allow it to,
the priorities of corporations and companies will take precedent over the priorities and things that the individuals put importance on 100 times out of 100. They will do what is in the best interest of a company or a corporation before they have justice for this Texas shooter. You know what I mean? For the families
like I said, anybody in
It's
that
not about
I don't
corporations.
think. I think that it's a.
I think it is because there's a revolving
America
door
in
policy in
itself is a
government. A lot of these
corporation.
people that's in his cabinet have been in corporate offices and
America
positions.
in itself is a corporation. First of all, let's talk about what makes a business. What makes a business? What is a business to you?
I don't know, man. All I know is that at this point, all I know is that at this point, America is a country, and we have a government, and that it has responsibilities towards the people, right? And it's supposed to be a democracy. And I understand that at this point we're running like an oligarchy, and I feel like that if we allow things to continue going, that we won't have a democracy. Or it was going to be way more degraded than it is now.
Honestly,
and I understand the skepticism 100%. I definitely do. But if we're going to approach this from the perspective of, oh, well, it's already over, then no, we're definitely going to have a fascist government in just a matter of time. It's not even a question of... It's
not like we can't just give up and say we're not going to do anything.
Like, I just don't like... I just don't like approaching it from this perspective of, oh, well... Like, because then what the fuck do we have left?
The answer?
Because you wonder, like, what the fuck can happen to us?
Do you know what the answer is?
Yes, voting is part of the answer. It's part of it. Yes, it's definitely part of it.
The answer lies in the very reason why this country is what it is. It's the money. Mm-hmm. The answer is in the money.
True that. Shit is a lot easier in America if you have money.
To happen.
You can.
If you want any change to happen, you change it with the demand that you create with your money, and that is it. It's kind of like how we can have different views about marriage, have different views about any other contract that you're entering into. It's like it is what it is. This is what it logically is. This is what I can write down on paper and show you that it is. This country is in contracts with other countries, and it has nothing to do with, oh, we're a country and we care about the people within it. If that was the case, then healthcare would be free, then education would be free, etc. But that is not the case. It's not that we don't have the funds to do those things. It's that this is a business and it's all about making more money.
I think it might be a little bit different. We are in contract
all over the world.
With America, especially with healthcare, because America is an immigrant-built country, right? So,
pretty much.
It is. Yeah.
If you offer free healthcare, a lot of countries that have free healthcare are smaller geographically than America.
Really? Canada's smaller than America?
Not as many people live in Canada as America. I mean, I guarantee the population of Canada, there are large parts of Canada that are uninhabitable.
What does that mean, though? That means more people are paying into it.
Canada is also a country of immigrants.
Where do you cut off the line between somebody who immigrated here and became a U.S. citizen or somebody who was born here? There's nuances to it. It's not just...
There is, and I'm sure those will be handled.
I definitely say that everybody should have free healthcare, right? Mm-hmm. And who's going to say no to paying for free healthcare out of your check every 2 weeks? You know what I mean? Nobody would say no to that. But
Trump does.
I'm sure there are reasons. And pharmaceutical companies, when you have a pharmaceutical company that makes $600 billion a freaking year.
Companies say no to free
right.
healthcare.
Why would I want free healthcare, bro? I made $600 billion last year. I'm not getting no free healthcare.
Like I said, when it comes down to it, money is the root of everything. The way it's it is the bottom line. If you ain't got the things that they ain't got the money. So I was just telling me in the car on the way over here, man. Like you were talking about voting. Mm-hmm. Honestly, man, sometimes I don't think about. Sometimes I don't even waste my time going to vote because the way that this country is ran, and it's like, does voting even count these days? Does voting even make a difference?
So they're doing preliminaries now. Recently,
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and it was a recent district where a Democrat woman won over a Republican with it was 150 votes in that district that won her that vote, right? 150 votes. That's you and 149 other people, right?
Me, but one of them.
I'm just saying. It was representation, right? Like, it matters. It does matter.
To an extent.
Locally.
To an extent, it definitely matters.
And you know what I'm going to say, D, because we had the conversation about a year and a half ago.
Say it.
Because Hillary got the popular vote in this last presidential election. She didn't win.
The Electoral College,
so it does matter to some extent.
Yeah, to some extent. It matters.
But then again,
I still don't understand how the whole fucking thing works. Like, so.
And the other things we were talking about this about when folks do their voting, protesting and things of that nature. I've seen so many viral protests and this, that, and the third. And honestly, to me, they ain't listening to these protests. They're not listening to them at all. They can do this protest, and I seen this statement in it, and I was telling D this. So it's like a cycle. Something happens, like I said, somebody gets shot or whoever. Then they want to go and protest and carry on in front of the Capitol or whatever. They're going to make a whole bunch of noise. And then everyone's back to normal again. They don't say nothing about it. The only way I think any kind of real change or anything can take place is a daggone civil war breakout.
Oh, okay, that's a jump.
Yeah, you're getting
I
right.
mean, that's how I see it, man.
I feel you. I know what you mean, though, because it has to,
what's
it has
the
to
end
come
of a
through.
civil war, right?
Change has to come through.
Violence.
It's never been changed without violence. Not true change.
But what is the result of civil war?
Right.
What is the result of civil war?
Another
It
split
only
We're not saying we
matters.
want it.
It only matters when dollars are affected.
You know why
It
protests?
only matters when people aren't making money.
You know why protests are not
Why
as
did
effective?
sit-ins
Because we are
count?
all
Why did
debt
sit-ins
slaves.
matter? Why did it matter that they were doing sit-ins?
Public perception.
No, because people weren't making money. Because
That's true.
sit-ins changed the business's ability to make money.
Right.
Unions matter.
Just like a boycott.
Like
right?
boycotts
That's it.
matter.
Start
All
with
these
it's
things
money.
matter. So here's the thing. You're right, Chris. Like they don't care when 150,000 people go to DC to protest the
Because
Trump.
they know you have to go to work the next
Whatever.
day to pay off your car.
Exactly.
Right. They don't care. But they realize that 150,000 people moved on one topic. And say those 150,000 people moved on the financial movement. That could crush a company.
Financial. That's
In a
it.
day, that could crush a company.
It's
Say those
financial.
150,000 people didn't go to work that day. They were just like, fuck it, we're not going to work for this day. The industry shakes.
Didn't they do that with a teacher strike?
West-
Was that West
West
Virginia?
Virginia.
Yeah.
Why do you think?
Virginia.
Why do you think they're crumbling to the teacher strikes? Like these
Bro, the
protests,
teachers won.
But
the
how-
protests
they had to go
are
back to
a
protest
matter
again.
of representation. That
But only
we
when
can
it affects
protest
the money.
It's right.
Yeah.
But it's all about the gathering of the people, man. The protest is the gathering of the people. That's why it matters. It's not
Exactly.
that you being there matters to Trump or whatever, whoever. Like what matters is that you have you and 159,000 other people who are there,
But then, like you
and
said,
you're all for this one cause that you all disagree with.
Right.
But like I said, when we're talking about the
That's
teachers,
power.
yeah, the teachers were going up there in West Virginia. They were protesting because they weren't getting paid enough,
Mhm.
and they just stopped doing work. They need. I mean, you need teachers. You can't teach without teachers.
Yeah, you're right.
So they had no choice but to make whatever necessary change.
That's how
But
protests work.
all these protests I'm seeing about when these people are getting killed, all left and right, and they're protesting this, that, and the third. They're not listening to them because it's still going on. They're not taking them seriously about that.
So you're talking about like
If,
police
unless
shootings,
it,
right?
like you said, unless it affects anything financial, they're not going to do anything.
The
for
only
it.
issue with that is that the police situation, the cops shooting unarmed black people, is what you're talking about. Like, you're right. Like, that's the problem. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about.
I mean,
like,
It's not funny, but it's just like the way he said it. You mean the cops shoot unarmed black folks? You know what I mean? Like,
just all these,
But yeah,
all these, I
but-
mean, just literally in
It
general,
sucks.
just all these cops just.
it's
killing
because
all
these people
in
are
general.
on the government payroll and we got to pay our taxes regardless, right? So that's the shaky part. But it is a momentum. Like, there have been changes that happened,
Yeah.
right? There are changes, and
Body
it's
cameras.
slow.
That's
Body
new.
cameras,
But that
that's
don't
definitely.
mean nothing. The body cameras. They're trying to get rid of body cameras.
They're trying to get rid of it.
But didn't they
Like
have
I
a
said,
guy?
they
Didn't they have a cop that got caught planting weed or drugs with somebody because he
They still got. They
cut his camera on too early? You can cut the camera on and off.
Cut the camera
So
on
all
off.
of this builds up, right? Like all this shit is building up. Like these are cases. Like you don't see it all the time, and oftentimes it doesn't get reported. But there are cases being fought in court all the time over this shit. Like there are people taking up the fight. There are people who are suing these departments.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like this shit. Like that's why they're always trying to implement these new policies, policy this, policy that, or we'll try to be more open. The reason they release these cameras to the media, or all of these things. The reason these things are made public is because you're putting all this public perception on this,
But the
and
messed up
people are
part is-
observing and people are watching, and
but
it's
the
just a
messed up
matter of
part
time.
But the messed up part I can't understand is how if they got all these photos, they put these photo cameras out there and all, they got all this evidence, and yet still they fail to put any of these folks on indictments. They still they don't hold them responsible for anything.
The police have a
even with
union
tape.
that is crazy strong. Dude, the
Money
police
talks
union
and
is
bullshit walks.
ridiculous
That's
crazy.
it. Financial backing, man.
It is financial backing.
It's
dude.
all money. They said they got all the evidence sitting right there in front of their face. They got them on camera. Body cameras and all that. They still let them on free.
It's frustrating, but the thing
You know
is...
what I'm saying? All these protests, they're not doing nothing with them. They're not.
But it matters. Like, I understand the
I think
frustration. It does matter, though. It's a long, slow process. You're moving a Goliath, but you're not gonna. You're turning a ship, but it doesn't mean it's not moving just because you're not seeing progress change. Because there have been police that went to jail. There have been police that have been fired for their
one hand, probably. But
yeah,
I'm saying, but it's slow.
But those guys matter too.
Yeah, I know. But like the slower it's moving, it's like
I know.
The more lives are getting taken faster than the thing is moving.
I know, dude.
They're getting killed. I mean, every day you hear somebody got shot, 2 or 3 of them getting shot, and you know it's just they're just dying off.
Another reason to roll back marijuana.
even just one.
If I could bring it back, you want less reasons.
One person can change the perception of many. It just takes the right person to hear your voice, to hear what it is that you're trying to say. So it's not necessarily that a protest doesn't matter, but once again, it has to be that right person that can affect that dollar amount, because that's what really matters. You know, when you know, you guys are gonna laugh at this, but when people, you know, tie themselves to trees and stuff like where it seems like
Steph, I could totally see you doing
where
it
seems like this does not matter.
Like laying down in front of a bus.
If you gain the empathy of someone who has the ability to change it because they have a voice, because they have people behind them, because they have money, etc., then you have the ability to change something. So you can't say that your vote doesn't matter. You can't say that.
But see, look at what's the name? What's the name? Kaepernick.
Kaepernick, yeah.
Did you just call him Kaepernick?
No, I'm sorry, Kaepernick. No, I thought I said Kaepernick.
Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Good transition though, because I did have a little something to talk about.
I do have one more thing to say on this one though.
Okay, good.
Transition. What were we saying, Sid?
No, I'm saying, but she's got a major point on that. When it does take somebody with some serious, you know, influential voice and financial backing to do that. Mm-hmm. But like I said, when she talked about that, I'm thinking, okay, we'll look at Kaepernick. I'm saying he's for the NFL, and look what they did to this guy. I'm saying we can have anybody of any kind of celebrity, you know, like I said, just say for instance a basketball player or somebody in sports. Using them, I still think it won't really do because of who's signing their checks. Like I said, with the NFL, it's a prestige thing when it came to Kaepernick. They're not going to bring it back in because of his protest, because they're all about prestige. If their money gets affected, they don't want that.
Also,
I think it will affect their money.
See how that translated
to this point. I don't know
to even basketball, because basketball players were also protesting, and they didn't get the same heat on them as this football.
And then you also have to watch. You also have to watch how the public perception is viewing the heads of the NFL, right? So not everybody's protesting, but there are people who are protesting. Yeah. On both sides, right? On Kaepernick's side, on the anti-police brutality, and the other side. Mm-hmm. And everybody's watching this thing, right? And that's the reason the Kaepernick was such a big deal, because people were watching and people were trying to figure out how is the agency, the NFL, how is the big thing going to move, right? Depending on how they move is going to depend on what is done in the future, right?
It might take a process, but.
And I'm thinking about the Parkland school shooting recently, man.
Yeah.
That happened. Everybody hates, or anyway, the right hates the fact that the students immediately, they were like, we don't want your cliches and platitudes. We don't want your prayers. We don't want your bullshit. We want changes. And they went and they protested. And they immediately left. And they traveled around the country. And they went and they spoke out against this. They used their platform. And if you don't think that the fucking NRA was shook by that shit, the NRA was shook by that shit. And the NRA is a fucking huge lobby. Oh yeah, they're a massive lobby. But you have local governments and senators who shook. It fucking shook some of the governor in that area to shake off, because this is talking about Florida, dude. Mm-hmm. And he was like, man, I can't in my right mind condone this shit anymore. Like, this is ridiculous. We have to do. Everybody agrees we have to actually do something. And that in itself is a movement, because if you recall, up until Parkland, the only movement was prayers and keeping my hearts, and we have a strange lone government. But now we actually have people saying that they are making moves. We've had Marco Rubio in that town hall got skewered, man, on stage. Like, that shit is happening, and people are observing it, and everybody has their opinions, but you've had businesses pull out of the NRA. You've had discounts taken back, which the NRA flipped out over. And those things are reactions. Mm-hmm. And it's because you have these masses of influxes of people who are seeing something that's not right. There's only so much rationalization you can do. People can rationalize forever. But there's a limit.
Yeah, I'm saying this money plays a role in a lot of this, man. If it affects your money, I don't think the moral right is in it. If it's affecting your money, and that's the only reason why you're reacting, then to me, your motive ain't right.
And I wouldn't sit here and say that
companies are not humans.
That I'm anti guns or anything, because in a country where someone has guns, I'm gonna also have a gun. At the same time, every other government building is secured in some kind of way. They have some type of security. So what makes a school different?
Right. I never got that. That's like, that goes without saying now. Like, get security at schools. Like, why did they not have metal detectors? Like, why is this not a thing anymore?
I know the reason why.
And it's like,
the reason is because that used to be something that was only for the bad schools.
Right. Like,
it's your
school will be looked upon
the ghetto
favorably
kids.
if you have a
metal detector and security guards at your front.
that's a normal thing in the hood.
I would feel
right.
And I think I had an article after that last school shooting that said that statistically there are less school shootings in the hood because they have these security measures in place. Mm-hmm. There are less shootings in school.
In school.
Where we're at, because we're in suburbia, as they want to call it. We're in this area here, where you got, like I said, predominantly white areas, suburban areas. So they wouldn't really truly worry about that as much as if you would. You was in the hood somewhere.
I don't know. I mean, there were white kids.
There were
white kids at that Texas school.
Just turned around now.
Y'all see this? There's one little clip on this one white girl
kids killing everybody.
Who walked around with a darn what was it? A dang on AR-15, some big assault rifle on her back. There's some white chick.
At the graduation, right?
Okay, man. I just happened to see it today.
It was a white chick, right?
White chick
walked up to graduation with an AK on her back,
and then she was talking about they were experiencing racism and whatnot.
No, she was saying that she was saying her message was something like, "You go and catch me like without my gun at this at my graduation or whatever." It was something like that, and then everybody. Graduation? Yeah, it was her graduation.
Yeah,
she wore
a machine
gun
rifle up there.
Yeah, she was wearing it.
Like, for one thing, why would you want even?
And they let her into school?
That's the thing, yeah.
But because I think she had a license to carry.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is,
you can't bring that in here.
And that's one thing is why I don't understand. See, this is that right there is just stupid. You know what I'm saying?
NRA will fight for their right to bring it in.
And that's the dumb part, though. I mean, where's the common sense? What in the world would you need to walk to a graduation with a darn assault rifle on your back for? There's got to be a common sense line somewhere in this. You know what I'm saying? What in the world would you need to walk with to the graduation with an assault rifle for just because you can? I mean, there's got to be some kind of common sense in all this.
That's the same Bama that walks around the grocery store with an assault rifle hanging around.
You're going to a supermarket.
It's the same people, and it doesn't matter. They don't realize that you guys are just like, you don't understand. You don't think you could be that crazy motherfucker. But if you have a bad day, you might be that crazy motherfucker that shoots everybody. We don't know. So you walk around, you don't think people feel threatened? When you walk around with an AK-47 around your arm?
What do you need that for? I'm just getting some oranges. What are you doing over
It's sad to say. We talked about this on the last school shooting, John. But I told Juice and Jay, like, if I came here with AR-15s and I laid them on the table and said, "Here, man, this is you can have this joint," they'll take the shit out of that joint. I know I would. I'm taking an AR-15. I'm going to take that joint home, clean it, store it, oil it down.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to take it to the gun range when I get a chance.
The gun range, but I'm not taking it out there.
But no, Juice is playing like he wouldn't take that joint. He would be like, "Why the hell you bring that gun in my house?" I feel you. Because if I walked in with an AR, I'd be like, "Fuck you." I mean, did I tell you I was bringing that or not?
I wouldn't take the gun. That sounds crazy as shit.
You wouldn't take an AR-15 if I just gave it to you?
That sounds crazy as shit.
I think you would.
Allow me to reiterate. That sounds crazy as shit.
Steph, would you take one if I just gave it to you?
Yeah, I mean, I like guns.
Would you take one, Steve?
Hell yeah, he's
Give me
I already know. See, take that joke. See,
If you got a handgun,
hey, look,
maybe.
see, is it loaded?
I'll take
But B and C went to the range though. C was a dead shot though.
Man, I'll take that.
He was out there busting.
Type.
All right, but let's change the scenario. Right, let's change that scenario around.
It was busting.
So D, you walk in the crib. We're about to do the podcast,
Mhm.
right? You just put your fucking gun on the table. I'm like, all right, let's talk about something. And you disagree with me? You just turn the gun a little bit.
I would never do that.
You would?
No,
How am I supposed to know? You got your motherfucking gun on the goddamn table.
But I know
How
that
the fuck
I'm
am I
of
supposed to
sound
know that
body
shit?
and mind. I wouldn't have my gun on the table
And how sure?
unless the safety was
And
on.
how sure would
I also
I be
wouldn't
of
have it
you
on the
if
table
you
with
just
it
put an
loaded.
AK-47 on the goddamn table?
Well, I'm of sound body and mind. I
And
know
how
for a
sure
fact that
am I
am
of
not
you after
psychotic
you just
or-
put a goddamn AK-47 on the table?
But
That's
you
the
know
question.
me, D. You know good as well.
I
would
know
never
you.
do that.
Yeah, I know you.
So that's not a fair.
So let's
that's
talk
not
about
fair
a stranger in the grocery store.
What's that? That's different. I don't know this.
I don't know, man. Like it's very
But we can
similar.
talk about
dude.
a stranger walking by your
It's
car
very
late at night.
similar.
You don't
With
know
the
that mother-
AK-47 on his fucking arm, we have a problem.
You don't know if he has one, but you might suspect he will have something on his arm. You know what I mean? This
See,
motherfucker might
if
have
he's
a gun
got
or a knife.
If he's got a shotgun,
So that's just
fucking
a
walking
natural
around my
human-
car in my neighborhood
that's a
outside my
natural
house, we
human-
have a fucking problem.
thing to happen if you question
Am I
people
tripping?
that you don't know.
Am I tripping?
I think so, because I think you would take the AR-15.
That's
I
not
think
what-
if I
that's
came
not
in
what I'm
here
asking
and I
about,
gave
though.
you that drink, I think you would take the shit out of that.
It's not what we asking about.
I think you would go buy a case. You would go buy a case, get some padlocks for that drink, put it up high in the closet. And
He's
just
got a
keep it.
lot of thoughts.
Just
But
have
what
it.
I'm not talking about is if there's a dude walking around outside my house with a fucking shotgun, and I look
Man,
at my
man,
window,
it's
this
not
nigga's
Texas.
like hanging. I'm just saying, we got a fucking problem, don't we?
You
Am
probably
I
walk
tripping?
by. You probably walk by 10 people with guns every single day. You just don't know it
I-
because they're concealed carry.
They be in the car.
I actually seen a couple people with their gun open carry.
I see
Yeah,
all
I
the
mean, people
people
in the car. You might cut somebody off in your car who got a gun in their car. You don't know.
But what I'm talking about is walking around the fucking where it's visible, dude. Like just have that shit
Deal
out.
with that.
That shit's a fucking
But then,
problem.
but like I said, it depends.
That
Like,
shit makes you nervous.
Because all it takes is one unstable
Even
motherfucker,
a
like
cop.
the one who shot up this school yesterday.
Even a cop.
Just
Like, you
another
ever get
one.
nervous when a
It's-
cop
y'all
come
don't
in?
understand. It's one
Yeah, they be
unstable
nervous as shit.
motherfucker who can get a gun, and all it takes to make somebody unstable is a bad fucking day.
But the thing is, why doesn't this type of stuff happen more? Okay, let's wrap up Kanye.
More than
Last
what?
question with Kanye though.
It happens the most here. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about around the world because there are unstable people with guns around the world. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and
except-
I'm not saying that school
You
shootings
talking
never
about in
happen.
developed countries
I'm talking
or
about, like,
in
mass-
like free range countries?
I'm talking
where
about
people
mass
just have
public
anything?
shootings.
You
know
talking
what
about
I mean?
war zones? Because
It
in
could be
developed
anywhere. It
countries,
could be in France. It could
in
be in
developed
Germany.
countries,
it could
they
be in
have-
America. It could
why
be in
doesn't that
Belgium.
happen?
You know what I mean?
are you asking why doesn't that happen? You want to explain this shit to me? Why doesn't
I'm
it
not
happen?
saying why doesn't it happen like it should happen. Just relax. All right. I'm saying why doesn't it happen as far as people being crazy and having a bad day and wanting to shoot somebody to take it out on somebody.
Because
that's a
you can't get
gun outside
hard
the
as
West
fuck.
is tonight.
Now,
we
now
don't
we-
have that
we
second
think that-
amendment that says okay, everybody can have a weapon. We don't have those things. Getting
Right.
an actual gun,
But it's not hard to get a gun. If you
it is.
It
if
is
you
hard.
want a
It
gun,
is
you can
harder
get a
than
gun.
Dude,
actually
it's
think.
hard to get a gun.
It's
hard
in
to get
Europe.
weed.
It's hard to get a gun. in
It
Belgium.
is.
Okay, Belgium. That's a small slice of the world. What
I
about
don't know,
Germany?
Name another. Yes,
It is
it's hard to
hard
get a gun.
I've never
Same.
been to Germany, but I doubt it's impossible to get a gun.
I didn't say impossible. I
It's
said it is hard.
So it's
You're
possible.
You're not gonna go to
So
the shop
it's-
next door that says gun and actually get a gun.
It's probably hard to get a gun here. You have to be of a certain age. You have to not
So
have a
you can
criminal
go to Walmart
background.
and get a gun.
You get a gun right now.
No,
If you are legally-
No,
you can get a gun.
If you are legally
Walmart-
able
Yes.
to buy it,
Bruh.
no, you have to
They
get
did a
background
report.
check.
Dude, they did a report
D.
in Virginia
In
where dude
Virginia.
walked in, showed his ID, and bought a fucking it was an AR. He just bought an AR with he had the cash and his ID.
That was
and
probably a
that's it.
shady business who didn't do the
It
proper
wasn't in the first
background
place.
check and run through the proper
Yeah,
channels like they were
probably
supposed
was.
to. But if
I
you're
know.
doing it the
If
way
you
you're
have
He
supposed
no
walked
to,
out with
record?
that junk 30
so
minutes
that
later.
was an illegal gun sale.
Nope.
So that's
If you have no record, then
It was
there's no
documented,
problem.
dude.
But they didn't even do his
An
background check,
underage
though.
person buying a gun at a legitimate business establishment,
Underage
that's an
is
illegal
not
sale.
18. You can buy this shit at 18.
So who how old was
Is
this
that-
person that walked out with the gun? Y'all
How old was the person who shot up at school? Was that Cruz guy? How old was he?
Because we don't know if he bought his gun or
gun.
stole it from
Bought his
somebody,
gun.
or we don't know what happened.
Bought his gun.
I mean, that
shady.
depends, dog. You could go to a gun show and
It's
buy a
shady.
gun. That's an illegal gun sale. So that's a
It's
possible
nope, it's
way
called
to
a
get a
loophole.
gun.
It's called a loophole. It's cool.
If
cool.
you go to a gun show and they don't run through the proper channels to sell you a gun, but sell you the gun anyway, that is an illegal gun sale.
What was it?
Which
Dylan
makes it
Roof.
easier to get a gun.
Dylan Roof. He bought his guns, right?
Right.
He bought his guns, and the background check didn't come through, and
so the guy sold him the gun anyway.
He sold him the gun
That's
anyway.
An illegal gun sale. So
and
that
he
guy
got the gun because.
But that can happen.
But who
anywhere.
followed up? Is that guy in jail, or did he get a fine?
Don't know.
All I know is 9 people are dead in a fucking church.
Right.
And that's a
But
terrible thing.
that was an illegal gun sale. If
He was 17.
he was able to get a gun.
He was 17. 17. So how old is underage? Like 13?
But
I think it's
12?
I think
I don't
it's
understand
what the
under,
argument
under
is.
18. I think it's considered underage anyway.
My whole point was saying
18
that
is considered the legal age of being.
why wouldn't this
What if
type of
it's
thing
16?
happen more? Because
It's
people
underage.
have bad days all over the world.
Some states is
16?
different though.
It depends.
Some states is different.
And all those examples you just pointed out of these underage kids getting guns are examples of illegal gun sales, which means that underage kids can get guns if somebody has a gun that's willing to sell it to them.
Not
I mean, it's-
necessarily.
no,
often,
so it's not-
often they just take it from their parents. Like
Well, that's not always the case. Dylan Roof bought his. You know what I
he
mean?
bought it, yeah.
And the guy didn't wait for the background check to come through.
No,
So
he
that's
waited. He waited. There was a delay. He
Yeah,
waited
so
for
he sold him the gun
and then,
anyway.
And at the time, it was like a lot of time had passed because there's like an allotted time with which if it doesn't come through, you have to give it to him anyway. That allotted time passed. That is the rule, dude.
I don't know what kind of law that. Where's that
I
at
don't
in
know.
North Carolina?
Do more research. I'm not a fucking lawyer, but what I'm saying is that shit happened, right?
so, it says federal law prohibits the possession of a handgun or ammunition by people that are under 18. However, federal law provides no minimum age for the possession of long guns or long gun ammunition.
That doesn't mean you can buy it. That means it's not a law against you possessing one.
So what?
So if I go to a gun show at a local
So,
mall
federal.
or a walk around mall and a vendor sells me a gun without running through the proper channels, that's not my fault for being underage. That's the vendor's fault for wanting to make that sale and make that money.
And whose
it
fault
also
is it that those
depends-
people die?
That
It
is
also
how
Whose
these
depends
fault
on-
is it that
underage
those
kids get the
people
guns.
die? If you're crazy, whose
I'm
fault
not
is it that
saying that
people
it's
die?
right.
It also
Okay.
depends
I'm not saying that
on
it's right or wrong that he
Because
shot
they're
these
dead
state
kids.
laws.
regardless. No
Obviously,
matter
it's
whose fault
wrong.
it is, they're dead.
I'm just saying that
Dead.
it begs the question,
Dead.
why doesn't this
Dead.
happen more? People get guns illegally worldwide. Whether it's hard or not, people get them. And people have bad days
Because
worldwide.
it's hard as fuck to get a gun illegally
it's
outside
not.
of America. Yes, it is. You said no, it's not. Have you ever tried? I don't know. I don't think you have.
You
But
haven't either.
A lot. No, I haven't.
It
But
is.
it's
I'm sure it is.
What I know is
but
that
it's not impossible.
when they do
is
terrorist
what I'm saying.
attacks, they
And
use
people do
trucks.
it.
That's what I
So
know.
are y'all
It's
telling me
easier.
that? Are y'all telling
Here
me
they
that
use
the
guns?
It
It's
is not
easier.
impossible because
Right.
of the internet. Because it's easier now because of the internet.
There you
But
go.
It is hard in a way that there's no like gun sale happening like it's happening in the US.
If I
Like,
buy a gun
I've-
legally,
I've lived in Europe for 15 years. I've never seen, and I've traveled all over Europe.
Right.
I've never seen an actual gun shop anywhere.
But I don't know-
In all the 15 countries I've been in Europe.
I haven't known you a long time, but I also don't know you to roll in circles where people sell guns or trade guns or buy
I am
guns.
from a military family.
I wouldn't think that you were that
I
type
am
of
from
person.
a military family. Every single man in my family that's over 40 went to the military.
That's
It
a prime
wasn't-
example
it
of
wasn't-
legal gun.
It was mandatory.
Of legal gun ownership.
So what I'm saying
They
is
don't
like a
have
lot of
guns
them
outside of the military.
feel comfortable around guns.
So, what is the percentage that you could get a gun in Europe illegally? Like, is it a 50-50 shot? Is it
Google it. I don't
40% chance that I can get a gun?
How are we supposed to know? What
Because
I'm
I mean, the way y'all are
So,
explaining it, it's
here's-
like it's damn near impossible.
Here's the point.
not saying
And
The
I'm not-
reason-
I
here's
find
what
it
I'm
hard to
saying
believe.
is that whether it's 5% or
Right.
20%, it's significantly less than here, and that is why. Your question was
Right.
why it doesn't happen elsewhere? That's the reason why. That's just the
Why-
answer to
my
the question.
was, why doesn't it happen more? I mean,
That's the
that
reason
was
why.
the
We just gave you the reason why.
guns are not as
it can not only be
accessible.
more overseas, it could be more in the U.S. It could be more in Mexico.
No.
The
It could be more in
gun
Canada.
deaths in the U.S. are hundreds of percent higher than anywhere else in developed countries in the world.
We like in Europe, we don't have that feeling that yes, we have a Second Amendment that said we can have guns and weapons in our own house. Nobody has a weapon in their own house if they are not part of the military or the army.
I find that hard to believe.
They don't have
Okay,
them.
well,
So
don't
nobody
believe it,
owns
but
guns
don't mean shit.
outside of the military in Europe?
No, most people don't.
I've never been to Europe. I'm just saying I find that a little bit hard to believe. But I mean, the question was,
that's because you live in
why
America,
doesn't it happen more?
This
and
is
it's
America.
not to say that it's a good thing that it doesn't happen more. I mean, I don't really understand what we're arguing about. It was just a simple question. Why doesn't it happen more? Because you stated that somebody
could you be ignoring people's answers? He'd be like, but why doesn't it happen more? Because they don't have as many guns. But why doesn't it happen more? Because they don't have as many guns there. But why doesn't it happen more? Was I'm asking. Because they don't have guns.
Because I don't find your answer relevant. I don't find it credible.
Oh, you just don't like the answer. Okay.
No.
I hear you. If you don't like the answer,
then part of not
clearly not credible.
Not liking it.
Because you don't like it, it's not credible. Gotcha.
Well, y'all are saying that nobody outside the military in Europe has a gun.
Listen, we didn't say nobody.
No, that's not what they said.
Most people.
What did they say?
They said that it's more difficult. So it's not as available.
The thing is, I don't understand why we're arguing about this because it wasn't the point that why doesn't it happen more in Europe, right? I mean, it wasn't. That wasn't the point. It's like, why doesn't it happen more in Europe? I'm saying, why doesn't it happen more in general? Because the basis that why we got on this thing was it takes one person who's having a bad day who owns a gun to go shoot up mass numbers of people. Uh-huh. That can happen anywhere in the world.
Let's look at
and that's why I
not
said,
if you can't get a gun.
Let's look at the shooting that been happening in the
Kill
US.
people other ways.
Let's look at those in school. A lot of those kids got the weapon from their parents, right? That's
except for Dylan Roof.
I said a lot. I didn't say all of them.
Right.
I said a lot of them, right?
So that can't happen in Europe?
Can I finish my thought? So a lot of them got their weapon from their parents in the house.
Right.
Which goes back to the Second Amendment where people want to have weapons or feel safer having weapons in their own house, right?
Right.
In Europe, most people don't even know about a Second Amendment and the whole idea of possessing a weapon. It's just not part of the European culture. Let's say that, right? So because it's not part of the European culture, a lot of people don't have weapon in their house. So kids are less likely to go in the whatever parents' bedroom or whatever and grab a weapon when they are mad that day.
Right.
Maybe that is why we're not having that many shootout and all those things because
this is America.
I find that like
have access to the weapon the way in people have it here
the American way.
I find that based upon that might be true. I've never been to Europe, right? I've never lived there, but based upon the law of averages and the number of people in Europe,
define the law of averages.
I would say that there is a large amount of people
Before
who
you
do
say
own
that,
guns.
What is the law of averages?
Where was that mall shooting at? Was that in was that France or something like that? Where they shot up was it a nightclub or something? Paris, right? Yeah. Now, was those guns bought illegally? We don't know. I'm saying that people.
It was a terrorist attack.
Terrorist attack. People were coming from
Syria. Those are the reports, but we don't know.
What? It was a terrorist attack.
Man. You just said that's just what they reported, but we don't know. I mean,
it's a known fact that the news lies. Come on, man. We know that. We all listen to alternative media.
They claimed it.
It was a
terrorist
attack.
attack.
All right, fine. But you can't say that that's the only mass shooting that's happened in Europe. That's the one I pointed out as an example.
Leave Alex Jones alone.
But I would say upon the number of people who live in America and who live in Europe, I would say that a large percentage of both of them own guns. There's gun ownership is a thing. I don't know. There's no Second Amendment that says you have the right to bear arms in Europe, France, Belgium. That's an American thing. But it just seems to me, based just upon logic, pure logic,
or
that
your assumption,
people own. Well,
go ahead.
It's all assumptions.
I'm with you. Go ahead.
It's all assumptions. The whole thing is assumptions. You know what I mean? We're all assuming that people in Europe don't own guns.
Well, you just said logic.
I'm not assuming.
Is it logic?
Because I've lived there, I'm actually telling you a fact.
I think her logic have more basis than your logic on European countries.
All right. I'm just saying, there's a lot of people in Europe. There's millions of people.
And the last shooting in Europe have been terrorist attack. If you look at Belgium, it was a terrorist attack. They actually found the people.
So there's never been a high school shooting in Europe?
No, I know of.
You can't say that.
But that's an assumption.
But you know what?
Know.
You know how many high school shootings we had here? But how many high school shootings have been here that we know about?
In Europe know about this Texas high school
Dozens.
shooting?
There was one in Australia in 1996.
In Australia?
Oh, and that's when they banned. That's when they banned all the SAR rifles.
One in Australia.
They were just like, no more of that shit.
No, they
cut that quick. I'm saying, do you think people in Europe...
Steph, did you say Australia or Austria?
Australia.
That's not even Europe.
Do you think people in Europe know about this?
The article is about Western civilization and who like.
Okay.
I'm not trying to argue the point to say that I'm right. I don't know, but I'm just saying.
You're trying.
Just upon logic, you're wrong.
Upon logic,
I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm saying you're wrong.
Logic and sheer numbers would say that.
Say what?
People own guns, and if there is somebody who's going to get a gun to commit an act of a mass shooting,
understand that their reactions to shit like that is different than our reaction. So when, like she said, there was a shooting in Australia, and I've heard about this, and you know what their reaction was?
You heard about the shooting in Australia in 1996?
I heard about that, yes. And you know what their reaction was to that?
What happened? What happened to that shooting in Australia in 1996?
People died. So, and their reaction to that, allow me to finish, is that.
Nice.
And their reaction to that was they did a huge gun buyback and they stopped selling assault rifles.
So everybody turned their guns in?
Most everybody.
They pushed a ban on semi-automatic rifles, and it made it illegal to carry.
This country,
I'm sure gun laws are a lot stricter in other countries. But their reactions are very different. Yes, because they don't have. But those are gun laws, and illegal sales of weapons happen all the time.
Here's.
So I'm saying that I don't think y'all are accounting for the illegal side of the sales.
There was a result. So 35 people died, and they decided right then and there, we're gonna make a change. This is not gonna happen again. Well, here we just have to keep having shootings over and over again, and no changes are made.
15.
That's what I'm saying.
50.
That's what I'm saying.
10.
In Europe, you have
17 people.
So many more levels of governance. You have the local governance. Mm-hmm. You have the federal government.
Right.
But you also have the EU, the European Union, that also control things like this. So it becomes harder and harder and harder for things to actually
for people to legally buy guns.
For mass violence to actually happen, because there's so many different limitations that comes to owning like weapons and stuff like that.
Right.
A lot of the things are actually like monitored by 3 different levels of government.
So the original
what about illegal gun sales?
With Australia though, because
those accounted for?
I don't know. What I do know is that.
With Australia, their reaction, like I said, we were saying the whole time, America is not like Australia. The way they run is not. They're not gonna have that type of reaction here, just because of the type of people that are over here and the type of backing that they have, and the type of.
They're the same type of people. What are you talking about?
What I'm saying is, Australia, their government.
The country was built on.
Okay, do you think America? Do you think America is going to do?
The Aborigine in me just came out like then and there. Like, are you kidding me?
That's not what he meant.
That's not what. Hey, they're animals. No, that's not what I'm saying. God dang.
I'm not saying they're animals either.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
No, what I'm saying is what Australia did and what America's gonna do. America's not gonna do that. America's not gonna automatically just.
You're right.
We're gonna have a ban on it.
You're right. Chris is right. America's not gonna do that, and as a result, we have more deaths by gun violence.
I don't know much about that.
There were 346 mass shootings in 2017.
How many?
346.
Mass shootings involve 4 or more people being shot at once.
Europe? Can you Google how many was in Europe?
Yeah.
How many reported?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just curious.
They have the numbers. They've been tracking this shit, dude.
Is the ARA strictly an American?
Yeah.
So there's no European branch, no Australian branch, no Canadian branch.
There was 16 children and 1 teacher killed.
What was this?
Australia.
There was a lot of happenings in 1996, actually.
Can you come 20 years in the future?
If you look in Europe,
No,
that was the end of.
Stop this shit.
If you look at 1996, it makes sense because that was the end of the Bosniak War. That was the end of the Kosovo and Serbia and things like that. So it makes sense that we had more mass violence at that time because like 5 or 6 countries in Europe were going through a civil war / at the end of a genocide.
And plus going through some economic and political upheaval like that would cause mass change as far as especially gun control. Stuff like that, where America has never been through
But
something
300
like
and how many in America? And we're not going through war right now. Not here.
This is
Just 300 and how many
1,000
mass shootings in America in 2017?
346 in
Just in last year.
2017.
Just last year.
346 in 2017. That's
Just
4
last
or
year.
more people shot at once.
Just last year.
I think it was 3 or more people shot at once.
That's that's just last year.
Yeah, that's last year.
That's 1 year.
That was 6 months ago.
We have way more. They have. That's like the entire history of like another country. Like
And this is not civil war. This is just
this is
stupidity.
day-to-day life.
This is just stupidity. Cause like you didn't make my sandwich right. Bam. Well, I mean, there you go.
I mean, that shit would happen. It happened.
It's retarded, man. That's why I said. They're not, like I said, this country is not going to react like that by buying back none of that.
And let's talk about why, and that's because of accountability. You know what I mean? Like if you look at the child that was killed, and it's like, oh, stand my ground. You know what I'm saying? If there's no accountability to doing these things, then they're just going to continue to happen.
Wait, you're part Aborigine?
My DNA test says so.
Aborigine.
Really?
My DNA test says so. Yes.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, but if you the history of Australia
That
is
explains all this.
insane.
Yeah, all that hostility. And we just got wide-eyed. Like, God dang, I'm not being racist. I'm just saying.
Like, we are people.
Like I said, she took that all the way wrong. Like, no, I mean, I'm talking about the thought process and how they would think. Like,
I pulled up an article,
not America's reaction.
just for shits and giggles.
All right.
Just for shits and giggles. It's from the Washington Post. Dated February 15, 2018. Mass shootings. How U.S. gun culture, compares with the rest of the world. And they have a graph here, how the U.S. compares to the other developed countries in gun ownership. Listen to this graph. U.S. does have a problem. Guns per 100 people, U.S. 100. The next closest country is Germany. Guns per 100 people is 30. 30 guns per 100 people. There's 100 for 100 people in USA. Austria, 30. Iceland, 25, New Zealand, 25, and then they just go on. Finland, Norway, Canada, Switzerland, Portugal.
Germany,
and it just gets lower and lower. Belgium is not even like...
But not there.
On the
I think Belgium, it looked like got like 5.
Like, Germany makes sense because of the rise of the neo-Nazi happening right now. And all the, refugee and all those things that's been happening in Germany. So Germany has becoming more and more radical. And a lot of, like, white skinhead have actually started taking weapons to kind of defend the whiteness.
That's crazy.
So we talk about the real rising of Nazis.
In Germany, if you're under 25, you have to pass a rigorous psychological and medical exam if you want to buy a gun.
I got one more, and I'm sorry I started the mass shooting topic, okay? Researcher Adam Langford, a professor at the University of Alabama, has tracked mass shootings around the world since 1966. Since the 1966 shooting at the University of Texas when an ex-Marine sharpshooter killed 17 people. Langford's list only includes attacks by public mass shooters, not organizational acts of terrorism or genocide, such as the 2008 Mumbai attacks or 2015 Paris attacks. Let's see. Las Vegas is the second deadliest incident worldwide in recent decades. The first largest deadliest is Norway attacks in 2011. People killed. 69 people killed. That's what this list says. Yeah. Las Vegas is 2017. South Korea in 1982. They killed 58 people. Orlando nightclub shooting 2016. They killed 48 people. Istanbul nightclub shooting in Turkey 2017. They killed 40 people. How do you say that? Yeah, Tunisia. Okay, thank you, Juice. Attack 2015. They killed 35 people. Yeah. So I mean, they do have mass shootings in other countries. It's just the U.S. has a lot more of them. So
significantly more.
But they're recent, and they do happen. I mean, it's like you can't stop the sale of guns.
Nobody saying stop the sale of guns.
We're not talking about
but who said stop the sale of guns?
When y'all look, when y'all say that, and I say y'all because I'm including y'all. Y'all are a unit, so I'm saying y'all. Okay, but y'all say
you all.
But I'm just saying, like, the illegal gun sales are a thing too. A lot of these mass shootings that happen in the U.S. were illegal gun sales, not waiting for a background check to come through, but selling them the gun anyway. That's illegal.
I know that the illegal gun sales did not happen.
So they happen. I'm just saying they happen. You can't say that they don't happen.
We're not saying the opposite. what we're saying is, if you look at mass shooting here in the U.S.,
it's a lot worse.
The one that been happening lately, it was mostly because someone looked at someone else in a like weird way or something like that. The one in Norway was actually because of some of the Muhammad picture thing that happened. So someone took a picture or drew a picture of Muhammad and someone went ballistic.
I heard about that. Yeah, you're right. I did hear about that.
That been happening. In Turkey, it was a nightclub, but that was because they had some gay thing happening too there. So they had a lot of.
Remember we went to that gay nightclub?
We're not doing it because someone did something bad to us. We're doing it because we have an ideology behind it,
right?
Which comes back to
it's like a political ideology or something. Yeah,
it's more terrorism that just I'm mad at someone, I'm going to shoot that person. Well,
I feel you.
No, sorry. You said, remember when we went to that gay nightclub?
We walked up to the gay nightclub and that dude hit on you, Juice. Hey, you know a gay dude hit on Juice at a gay nightclub in Richmond. He told you we should come in there. He said, because remember we asked the security dude how much did they get in? He was like, man, y'all don't think y'all want to come in this club tonight.
I do remember that.
He was like, yo, why not? He said, yo, why not?
I was about to say I don't remember.
He said, yo, it's gay night. We looked down the line. It was all gay people in that
How did he know that you weren't gay?
He could tell stuff. We wasn't dressed up. We didn't have no fingernail polish or nothing. We were looking for the chicks.
What?
Like what the girls at?
Like no
he said that shit.
Tight shirts on.
Hey, look, no.
Because that's what gay people look like.
Sometimes.
Well, Steph, you should have seen these guys though. I mean, they look gay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dog. Button up pink shirts.
You can tell a buttercup when you see one. You know what I mean? But
oh my gosh.
Like,
okay, I'm sorry. I call them buttercups. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody each his own, man. But it was funny because one of the gay dudes was like, he told Juice, because Juice was like, yo, I gotta confirm this. So he asked one of the dudes in line, is this a gay nightclub? The dude was like, yeah, I think you should come in. I remember that joke because we walked from Dennis' dorm.
I don't remember that part. I do remember
dorm, though. I
remember the guy saying, I don't think y'all want to come in here. I don't remember asking him, being like, hey, is this a gay nightclub?
Because we had to confirm it. You said, yo, I gotta confirm this. And then you turn to ask one of the dudes in line.
Oh, wait.
Yo, is this gay night? He said, yeah, I think you should come in.
I do remember that shit now.
So,
don't worry, guys. We ended up going somewhere else.
Oh, yeah, we definitely went somewhere else. This is like, I did it.
No, we did.
I said, man, this was gay night.
But,
wow, this turned into a pretty good cast, man. I thought it was very opinionated.
Had a good fun.
37th cast. This is the 38th time Juice has gotten mad at me on air.
Some of those casts didn't make it through.
Honestly, look, I don't know shit. Okay, I'm just a talking head. I just like to give my opinion. You know, I feel like we should be passionate about the debate because that causes conversation and ideas to go back and forth. You know what I mean? Like, I never take anything personal. When we're in front of this microphone, I don't take none of this stuff personally. You know what I mean? We can get mad. We can give our opinion. We can say what we think. This is our platform, man. It's an Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast, man. So, you know, we can talk about anything we want, man. Mm-hmm. Hey, I want to wrap up on Kanye. So, are y'all done with Kanye? You never gonna listen to Kanye ever again?
I listen to his old shit. You know, honestly, when I was listening to his old shit,
he's one of the best guys.
I was listening to his old shit the other week because I was going through a crisis. I couldn't understand it. I was trying to figure him out.
I know you was his old shit. You sent that to the group, and then you posted on Facebook.
And I sent that, John. I was just like, you know what? He's a crazy dude. Like, even listen to his old shit. I'm like, he was always, like, in the words of the great whoever said it, this nigga nutty in the squirrel shit, you know? So he was definitely like a little crazy.
Like Socrates.
Socrates said that shit. Pericles was like, nutty in the squirrel shit. That's
Odysseus.
I fuck with Kanye. I fuck with his music, and I think that
I do too.
If you listen,
I might be done with this new shit.
If you listen closely to what he's saying, I mean, some of the newer stuff I'm not a huge fan of, but if you listen closely to what he's saying, you literally will follow the timeline and what of Kanye and what he's going through, and you'll hear it, you'll feel it, you know.
And I think one of the best parts
is Kanye West crazy.
Yes. I don't think he's crazy. No.
Oh, he definitely has that celebrity vibe, craziness thing going on. I mean, look at the family he married into.
That's how I feel.
He wasn't like that before he married Kim Kardashian. I mean, he might have been crazy before, but it wasn't public.
I like that now.
He wasn't making homeless people clothes and trying to sell off as fashion. You know what I mean? Like, whose idea was that?
They have Crocs. What was they calling them? The Yeezys.
Them first Yeezys was fresh though, man. Them Jones with the Nike made
the flip flops. They look like Crocs.
I want a pair of those joints.
Like, I'm sorry, they were a bad version of Crocs.
Oh, Kanye is definitely an artist, man.
And
I don't know. I feel like that gives people too much credence.
Kanye is one of the illest poets I've ever heard.
It opens the door to stupidity.
Right. Kanye was one of the most creative, energetic artists ever. And Kendrick Lamar came up and kind of took that spot a little bit. but Kanye was there first, man. He was like
But
one of the first backpack
Kanye
dudes that you
promoted
really
Kendrick
on.
Lamar. Do you remember that Kendrick was opening for Kanye? You know what I mean? Kendrick has come a long way. Kendrick is dope as hell too.
Section 80 was tight.
But the thing is, I think Kanye is doing exactly what Kanye needs to do because this is his brand and he's continuing to build his brand. And in order to do that, he has to maintain a certain image for his brand.
He has to maintain a certain level of relevancy.
Sorry. Like how? So who is he peddling to? Because he's only going to get the alt-right to listen to him now. And that's a small sliver of society. Because all the rest of people, I mean, at least his old market, they're looking at him like he's nuts. Yeah. And I'm not saying that he's crazy. I'm not going to say he's crazy. I think he just has a celebrity, what do you call it? That Kardashian disconnection from reality, right? So I'm not saying he's crazy, but he's definitely disconnected. But what I do say is that who is he marketing to? Because if that was your move, like if you wanted to say something relevant about the world, if you wanted to create an album that was saying something that could help people who would have normally listened to you, right? And maybe he's moved past that to the people who eat caviar and crackers, right? But if he's moved,
caviar is gross.
It is nasty.
It's like, fish eggs.
It's just nasty.
But if he's moved to those people, then maybe this move makes sense, right?
Is it spread like jelly? Is that true?
It's gelatinous.
It's like a jam.
Gelatinous.
It's like it's gelatinous.
It's definitely gelatinous. But what I'm saying is, I don't think he's reaching. If he is reaching for a new market, then maybe that's what he's doing. But he's not reaching to his original market.
I was just about to say.
Do you remember what Kanye used to sound like in his interviews and what he sounds like now?
Stop
Quite
the
foolish.
tape and rewind that. Yeah, I remember that.
Like Kanye used to just sound like everybody else, and then now Kanye's very proper and.
Not really. He always talked to that jaw. He always talked to his jaw a little bit.
Oh, come on, dude. Because
he did.
It's like,
but you could hear the jaw. You could hear. You know what I mean? Yeah. Early Kanye, you could hear it.
But it's like
super
private now.
That's how it sounds.
Kanye's still dope to me, man. I'll still listen to Kanye. The Life of Pablo was tight as hell. His worst work that I've ever heard was Jesus. Maybe and even that still has some good songs on it.
Maybe because I've been off Kanye for a while. I haven't listened to Kanye since my Twisted Dark Fantasy. Other than after that, I haven't listened to anything.
And also,
so
I like
maybe there's a transition, a period I'm missing that he transitioned and y'all saw it and saw this shit coming. But I ain't seen shit coming.
I admit that I have not bought a Kanye album since.
It's cool. Bootlegging counts. It's cool.
Since
I bought The Life of Pablo.
What was the one that was like, you know?
Gotcha, bitch.
What 808s and Heartbreaks? All tunes?
Yeah.
That shit was tight. I thought
that
it
was
was
the last.
stupid.
That was the last one that I bought. But I didn't dislike it either.
I
thought it was cool. Honestly, does anybody have it? Because I haven't.
Yes.
I don't have that joint. I need a copy because it's been a while, and I miss that joint. I used to have that shit.
I'll bring it next time. I got all my old CDs.
When I was listening to that, it hurt. I could feel it.
That joint was hard, man. That Love Lockdown? Who didn't feel that Love Lockdown? Man, keep your love locked down, man. Or that Heartless joint?
Oh, you heard that?
Even though that song was a remake. He remade that song, that Heartless. How could you be so heartless?
I like that.
Yeah, he remade that joint.
I like it, but
because I heard the original. I was like, dude, it was Kanye. Kanye was singing that joint.
Damn, I missed that
Kanye
song. But so is that was that the Kanye that we're seeing now?
No.
I think Kanye.
That was a long time ago.
I think Kanye has evolved into what Kanye is going to be. You know, like anybody else that goes through any transition in their life.
I think he's evolved into Jim Carrey. I think he's becoming Jim Carrey.
As hell. What are you talking
Jim Carrey has
I love Jim Carrey.
Drama movie coming out. I forget the name of that shit. But
here's the thing about Jim Carrey. He is. He is on the way, or he's trying to be enlightened, right? And that's the thing. I feel like Kanye's doing the same thing. They're trying to be enlightened individuals. He's talking about energy, and he's talking about love, and he's talking about connecting, and all these things that are like these higher level concepts, right?
Kanye,
and I feel them, right? And I've been there, and I believe in it, right? Like I feel like love is the way to go, but at the same time, you have to be very cognizant of the world around you. And I feel like if they're on the way to reaching. To trying to reach some kind of enlightened level, you still have to take into account this 2D level that we're at.
Kanye's a little out of touch.
Yeah, like he's out there in this world in which maybe you can manifest a Rolex, right? But
That should be a cool ass lyric.
Manifesting shit, but at the same time, it's like, first off, that's not how the rest of the world works, and that's not relevant for people who don't have money to manifest a Rolex, right? So it's just like it's a level. He's having a not a midlife crisis, but like a
manifest Rolex, the ice in the chest.
A disassociation. There's a disconnection going on there between what he wants to say and what's actually he's coming off as. And I feel like he has good intentions, but I feel like he's got to work through some of the shit. Like he says he doesn't read. I think that's a huge problem with people. People don't like to read. They don't like to immerse themselves in established science, in peer-reviewed stuff, and I feel like people don't like to dig into or to know the things that have been accepted as the norm in order to challenge them. I think they like to challenge them before they know what the fuck they're challenging. And I feel like that's what Kanye is. I think he's in a place where he's challenging, like, you guys just think Trump is bad. Make America great. It's a great idea. We should all make America great. I feel like that's what he's saying, but he hasn't done the research into understanding what the fuck he's trying to defend.
Or, I mean, on the other hand, some people accept the norm without even knowing what they're accepting. You know what I mean? Like, it's a double dichotomy. You know
that's why I think research is very important. Don't just accept. Read it, and if you find a problem with it, then understand it, and then know exactly what your problem is. Don't make up straw. People love making up straw men for the things they don't understand about conventional science or conventional understanding. They like strawmen. They like to create, like, oh, well, this rule says that, but I feel like that's foolish. It should be this. But that's not
how every great doctrine or every great
it's not.
Principle is challenged and corrected.
No, not by strawmanning it. Not by strawmanning it. You have to understand it and then challenge it. Not strawmanning it, saying this is what you think it means, and then challenging that. That's not challenging the actual notion. I feel like that's what people are doing
Kanye,
a lot.
When he came back in that second video,
I feel like that's what B.O.B. was doing. I feel like that's what Kim Kardashian and Jim Carrey do. Like
Kim Kardashian?
Yes, Kim Kardashian. Or what was the Kardashian sister who did a silly ass Pepsi commercial?
Oh, for that Chloe?
I don't know.
It was one of the younger ones.
Kylie?
Yeah, remember the whole Pepsi commercial? They were like the whole Pepsi. They were trying to use protests. They were trying to use the whole protest against police and everything, and the whole protesting platform to promote. And then they were like, and it was just like, well, and then they were like, here, she handed a Pepsi to the cop.
I do remember.
And he was like smiling, like, oh. And it fixed everything. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wait a minute. That's what we call cliches and platitudes. That's the same reason people don't like Hillary Clinton.
But is that her fault, or is that the company who produced the commercial?
People are losing their placement. They're losing their footing over shit like that. You're not going to help yourself using these empty cliches and platitudes.
I don't know. Everything comes down to perspective. I think Kanye definitely showed me something when he came back and showed that dude some compassion and not really corrected or re-explained himself in a more understandable way, but just showed that he did not mean to hurt that guy, and he himself was hurt that he hurt that guy by what he said. You know, I think he definitely wore that hat for the attention factor, and like Steph said, to stay relevant in the public eye. What else is Kanye relevant for if we're not talking about him for this? You know what I mean? Like, he's not dropping no music.
He did that song with Schoolboy Q recently. That shit was dope, man.
Yeah, but, you know.
That shit was cool.
I live with a 17-year-old, and I don't think a lot of them listen to Kanye. I don't think, like, he's not on their...
Doing it for us.
Maybe that's why he was trying to break into fashion on him years ago. He was like, man, this music stuff's not going to last forever. I
remember Kanye's old fashioned line. They were like, yo, this shit look like some shit out of a record of Lotus War, or like fucking Chrono Cross or something.
They said that you're like homeless people gear.
They said it looked like people were dressed like elves. Like, are these hobbits? Like, this Lord of the Rings? Like, people wear that joke like they're wearing tunics. They're wearing tunics and belts over that joke.
Like, is that a tunic?
Like, is that a scabbard? Like, yo, people weren't sure what was happening, man. Scabbards and slippers.
How do you even put on a tunic? I don't even know, dog.
Like a tunic. It's like a whole...
Like a tunic?
Like a shawl. It's like a big
blanket. Is it like a shirt?
It's like a shawl.
Did I tuck it in?
No. It's just like you just put
I don't know. You tuck it in your scabbard.
Is it cloth? Is it buttons?
No. A tunic is like
is it like a button up?
No, it's not a button up. A tunic is like a cloth you put over yourself.
I'm just thinking.
So it's like a poncho.
Now, I wouldn't say a poncho, but a tunic is something you do wrap around
Chris, I
yourself.
don't think you know what a tunic is.
I know
No, you ain't never seen a damn tunic in your life, though. Whatever.
It ain't no button up
damn tunic.
It's not a tunic. A tunic is not a button up shirt. A tunic is not a button. Okay, this is a tunic.
I'm not
Try to tell me what a tunic is.
I
don't know no damn tunic.
This is a tunic if it got buttons on it. I got a tunic on.
Hey, and I want Chris and Steph to notice how when we get ready to wrap this thing up, how when Juice and Claudine were trying to gang on me, do you see how I just calmly let them get their chides in, let them chide me, let them goad me, and you see how I just calmly responded?
That's what we do.
Because I'm used to this. This is our 38th podcast.
That's what we do.
Hey,
that's only the second or third time.
This is our 38th podcast. I'm used to this stuff already. Okay, I'm used to this.
D doesn't like answers.
I love you telling I did talk podcast.
Let me see buttons in it. It's not like it has buttons like a button-up shirt. What
Some hippie ass shit. But that looked better than Kanye's tunics.
Yeah, that didn't look bad.
That looked better than Kanye's tunics. I might wear that, you know.
But it's like a button-up shirt. Like
I don't know no damn tunic.
Ain't nothing got
you gotta lace up the front.
You can see it's in a pauldron. This is like
you got shoelaces on your collar.
You gotta lace that shit. I know it wasn't a button-up shirt. I know that for sure. Ain't no button-up shirt. That's not a tunic.
What? It's a tunic.
All
right, yeah, no doubt, man. This was actually a good cast, man. Good cast, man. Damn, it's definitely, Steph. See, thanks for joining us, man. Definitely, y'all always welcome back. Come back.
So much for a short cast.
Hey, this is our platform, man. Okay, this is where we come, discuss intelligent ideas. Okay,
and please don't worry about offending motherfuckers, because nobody's listening to us.
Don't get and don't.
We are yelling into the void. Understand it and accept it as I do.
And don't get offended by anything. You know what I mean? Okay. I'll say that. I'll end on that because this is our platform to talk. Say what you feel. You know what I mean? Get your opinion across. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And Steph, you are one of the original. Did you coin the phrase "intelligent idea talkers," yo? Or was that Juice? One of the two of y'all did it, and it just stuck like glue. And that was like 5 years ago when that joke came out.
Idea talkers, yo.
That was
I think it was Steph.
We kind of created that together.
Right, it was just like something that came up in conversation. But I remember I seen it, intelligent idea talkers, yo.
And then Juice was like, "Yo, that's our name. We're gonna call it that."
And then Juice came with some crazy idea about starting a podcast like a year later. Yeah, you trying to do a podcast? I'm like, yeah, why not? I ain't doing that.
And then because you didn't want to come on, look, don't put this on us. Don't put this on us. You forced our hand.
Then we kicked her all that.
Jesus. Anyway,
guys,
we love having Steph on this jump. We love having Mumblaze on this jump, man. Y'all need some aliases. Well, Mumblaze is the alias.
Juice, D. So, yep. I guess that's gonna wrap this up, man. Episode 38, Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast. Yeah. Episode 38 in the books. Any final thoughts, folks? Closing thoughts?
You get that tunic?
You don't know what tunic is. You don't know about a tunic.
About to try some.
All right, well, it might as well be. You gotta slip it on.
It's a lace up.
See, about to rock a tunic with some gelatinous caviar.
Rock a tunic with some lavender loafers out there.
I'm about to get some straight up purple girl gators.
You probably already got some.
Purple gators.
No, I don't have the gators though.
Purple. Purple gators.
All right, folks.
Yep. Purple gators.
Thanks for joining us.
Purple gators.
No closing thoughts, Steph?
No.
Women rule the world.
Steph said, no. Remember the Fifth Element where he kept talking in the mic? What you got to say, my man? I'm good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Steph. All right, man. Well, wrapping us up. Peace.
Peace, y'all.
It's static. What kind of forever?
Gelatinous.
I know, right?
Forever.
Gelatinous.